Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. I hope you guys having a great day. Hello, hello, hello. Let me check something here. I don't know if yeah, we should be live. Peace, peace. Can anybody put in the comments if you could hear me? I would greatly appreciate it. Um, da, 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 da. Ta, 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 ta. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Alrighty then. That's that. Okay, so we here. I'm trying to get back on here. Let me close this now. Okay, yeah, I see you guys. Malekon Sala, Sanaya, Rick Savage, Maurice, Vanessa, Rick Savage, Vanessa, Yvette. Buenas tardes, buenas tardes. Hope you guys are having a great day, great night, actually. Still daylight out here. I'm waiting for my Fumu to come on. Tata Matamba. We're just getting set up here. It's been a hot day today. Hot day today. Hot day today. The Red Swan. Salam alaikum. Hello. Alrighty then. There we go. There we
Mm.
go. Let me bring my zoom down now since you're here. Oh, I don't want to look like I'm all on. My face is on the camera. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Star Trinity?
How you guys doing? Salam alaikum. Many blessings to all. Once again on another live.
Hey, you got your host. You got your
Yeah.
host. There we go. Oh, there we go. I'm hearing myself laugh like what the hell?
There you go.
Alrighty then. Yeah, it's more faster like on YouTube the messages than on the here. It's a little delay on this app, but it's okay. I see. Hey, Tata Matamba. They saying hello. Salam alaikum, Tata Matamba. Once again, ya tu sabe. Once again on it. You know how that is, Miss Sonia. That's the name of the game. Trying to see what could we do to help out the community. You know, we all with Tata Matamba is always here with me. You know, he's the man of the show. So, you know,
Yeah, no. There's a lot of great priests out here at the end of the day. Thank you, Andy, Tata Zongo, for continuing, supporting our followers and your followers specifically and having me up here all the time.
yes,
You
sir.
know, waiting for the one with Will. That's the live that I'm waiting for because every time I have conversations with that priest, he's has a lot of knowledge. Ese sí tiene mucho
Yeah,
conocimiento.
yeah,
That man.
Tata Will's no joke.
Um, well, I guess today's live is gonna be about it's gonna be about processes. Many of you guys um have gone from house to house and from priest to priest and might be priests yourselves or priestesses yourselves and might not understand how things function when it comes to processes. And what I mean with a process is that everything in life happens based on a process. Musuni, Kala, Tukula, and Lumbimba. Right? Conception, birth, maturity, and change. This live itself had a conception stage, and obviously now we're in Kala. It's just began. It just came to birth.
You got to start all over again because we cut out. Start with the process again.
Oh, I apologize. So everything has processes. Conception, birth, maturity, and change. Musuni Kala, Tukula, Lumbimba. And as priests, we must understand that. And people who are searching for services for priests within La Ocha, within Ifa, within Palo, within any of these ATRs, for sure you got to understand the processes. Your decisions themselves affect processes in your life, all the processes within all the aspects of your life, within your finances, your health, your relationship, like love life, your mental health, your physical health, within your careers, within all your relationships that you have and that you are within the community. All these decisions that you make day in and day out affect processes within your life,
Hmm.
whether you're conscious of it or you're not conscious of it. They're affecting them. And when you search out for a priest to help you out with the situations or the process that you're involved in, that is obviously part of the problem, the priest must understand that process for him to be able to have effects in it. But before we get into that, we have to understand and be, let's say, adults and responsible and understand that our decisions affect the reality, the situations that we are in. Obviously, decisions of other affects our lives too, but majority of the time, it's your decisions. That's why we got binary code, mutali and mutali. Your decisions deliberately create your reality.
Reality. Yep.
Um, but your decisions and actions, both of them.
Yep.
Um, and the situations that you find yourself in, the tragedies, the traumas, the obstacles that are in front of you, and that you have overcome were all based on your decisions and circumstances that were all a part of a process. And maybe Tata Zongo can explain things that have to do with life, about these processes.
Well, everybody knows that everybody here is an adult, and everybody knows that we all go through processes in life. We could start off with uh, a process like having children, right? Having children is a process. It's not something that a lot of us at the beginning we're not prepared for, especially if we're young. And through experience, having those children or that child, you gain knowledge. You also learn off of your elders, right? How to take care of your child, and you also see the processes that they went through with you, with yourself, with the grandchildren, whatever, how they interact, and you notice that everything that you see, it's a constant process. Even the growth of a child is a process. The coming into this world of a child is a process. The giving birth is a process. Even intimacy is a process. You understand? So we all gotta understand that. And just looking at these basic understandings, just with us humanity, with humans, how we function on this planet, we have to start understanding that just the same way these are processes, also in these traditions there are processes that we have to follow. About that.
So I'm gonna take it to my life. There's been many times I have a bunch of just because I'm a priest. I'm gonna say this just because I'm a priest or I'm Tata Matamba, and you guys are seeing me on social media. You see Tata Zongo, you see great priests online. That does not mean that they don't have issues or problems. Just because you see people with way high social statuses, like presidents, um, famous models, and singers and athletes,
Yep.
you only see one side of the coin. You're not understanding that they're just like you and me, and they're going through the process. They have issues and problems. Everybody has them.
Yep.
Everybody here. The issue is, or the key in reality, it's not an issue. The key is that you don't understand or we don't comprehend at the moment that our decisions have led us down a path, um, and the trials and tribulations that we have, and the decisions of others sometimes, but majority of the time, like a good 99% is our decisions
Mm-hmm.
that get us in those predicaments. Then, while you're within these ATRs and you go get readings, you make those decisions, and you expect the priest to resolve your problems. For that priest to be able to affect that process, he must understand it. The reason why you have the problem is due to the fact that you don't understand and you don't know how to resolve it. So you're going somewhere else, searching for that, searching for them to resolve your problems, to bend the wheel or the yield things in your favor in these specific situations or process, whichever one may be, which we'll speak about that in a few seconds. But if you're a priest and you're doing medicine or any type of bilongo or bosses and sadas, whatever you're going to do, whichever type of priest, you
Mm-hmm.
must understand the process, specifically within Palo. You must understand the process for you to have effects in it. If you don't understand the process, you're not going to have no effects within it. It is just that simple. Um, it's not just sacrificing animals, blow some rum, some cigars in it, and keep it moving.
Right.
Things do not function like that. Um, Obviously, there's concepts and all and animistic ideas and everything that we do in those rooms, which we're not going to go in depth with those things. It's an open channel, but I'm at least speaking about a process for the people who are searching for this. Understand that things unfold in a process. Just because you ran a ritual right now does not mean 2 seconds later you're going to see the effect. 99% of the time, there's certain rituals that you do that you'll see it right away, and it's part of the process for it to fit. Um, and that's the main thing, that I want you guys to understand. If you're practicing priest, you must understand the processes and the situations of your life to have effects inside the room, and especially when you're doing it for a client. For example, if somebody comes to you and they have a court issue, before they even come to you, you see, divination is the most important key because that's part of the process. To be able to divine and see the weaknesses along the process, and see how can you bend it to the yield and identify the issues and problems that this patient is having. So if you're not strong in divination, you're already having issues when it comes to the tradition. But let's say you have a person that has issues with a court issue, right? Court problem. You know how many type of courts there are within the Americas? Civil court, immigration, you got criminal court. And if you don't understand that process very well, how can you have effects in it? If you don't understand where things can't change, it's part of the process. He has to go, he has to get locked up, he has to try to see if he can get out on bond. You can't, no matter what you do, you can't escape it. You can't remove the judges from there. They're gonna put a new judge on there. You can't escape it. You can only bend the will of that process in your favor as a defendant. That's why for me with court cases, I only take specific court cases because I don't understand the process fully. There's other priests like AZ here, Zaria Israel. He's somewhat of a lawyer when it comes to, you know, in the court processes, right? When it comes to the court processes. And I've learned a lot from him when it comes to the court situations. And every state, it's gonna be different. Every situation's gonna be different. And you have to base your medicine or the ritual, the animistic ideas, based on the process, which we'll get a little bit more in depth with that. Um, and that's just one aspect. That's one patient. You might have another patient, right, who comes to you with financial struggles. Obviously, their decisions have gotten them there.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the time, 99% of the time. If you don't understand the processes of how finances work, how can you really open the roads? If he doesn't even don't have nothing, or she doesn't have anything, or he doesn't have anything to be able to climb the ladder of the economic to get paid more, to get a better job, to get a raise, if he doesn't even have a job, um, you see, a lot of things are stacked up against this process. So for the Mfumbe, And your Inkishis to run these rituals, you have to truly tweak the medicine according to the circumstances. Same thing is for the house. A person who comes with diabetes or um, a liver failure because they were drinking their life away, to be able to fix that process, you must
Yeah.
understand what a liver is. You must understand what diabetes is
Mm.
within the inside of the room. And the patient themselves must align their decisions based on that process. Hopefully, we're truly, I'm transmitting these ideas where people are saying, I'm understanding a little bit more now. What do you think, Andy? What you got to add towards that?
I think they understand. I mean, I as far as the processes, I was reading because a gentleman put there. Does it help if the person understands the things they want to affect? So I was reading that, and it does, it does help out. I mean, that's you have to know that. You have to know that. You have to know the process. You have to know in what state or what how can I say
Stage. Yeah, what stage?
what stage are they in as far as that as the process in the process, like how far, how close they are in the process, because not everybody is going to be at the same stage in different processes, so that has to be found out. As Azaria is there could tell you that depending of the stage that you at is the probability or the possibility of either getting the help and being able to work that case or that problem, or maybe not, because the longer and way up it is, the more difficult it is. You understand?
Yeah, so like if you have a court issue, right? You're in criminal court, you have a court situations, you're being charged with whatever these amount of felonies, um, on burglary, whatever it is. If your court date's tomorrow or a week from now, that is very hard for us as priests to affect the process because we need the judge's name, we need, you know, um, your lawyer's name, the prosecutor, we need to work all of that stuff. And it's a little bit harder for us. Most of the time, I don't take those works, so there's not enough time. Other priests who can truly bend that process to their favor, they'll take him on. But I need time, you see, because you truly need to understand what you're doing to see these effects.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the health. It's not the same to catch a tumor right in the beginning stages than to have cancer now at stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
You see, even if they're in Fumba, that you're in Kishi's agree, you're good to go. But now the levels of ritual and the medicine that you have to apply is greater than
Mm-hmm.
if it was in another stage within these process. Same thing within finances. If your finances are okay, or you're trying to get this loan, or you're trying to do this, but not saying that you were, and I'm gonna use regular terminology like being broke. You're not broke, but you're just trying to grab this loan so you can invest it. We can bend that process or get a raise. We can bend those processes. But like, let's say the person's homeless and has a bunch of he's a felon, has no driver's license, have none of these things, don't have a social security. He lost it when he was back in the day. He lost it. Do you know how hard it is for him to get a job and for to do medicine for that?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot escape from the actual processes.
It's like I was we was talking the other day, right, about these processes, and it's like I was saying, I think I even said in the video, right? if if you don't have a degree, or let's say a mechanics diploma, you went to school, Lincoln Tech or whatever, and you got a diploma. If you don't have that diploma as a mechanic to work at a dealer, and you go to any of the priests and priestesses of the tradition, you say, hey, I want to work in Ford, I want to work in Chevy, and I'm going to ask you, do you have a license, do you have a degree, do you have the certifications that you need to work in that place and that dealer? And if they tell me no, what am I supposed to tell them? If you don't have what's what you need in order to commence that process to get in there. How am I going to help you out? Am I supposed to do something? You get a license and a degree, or how does that work? We can't get there. He'll never be able to work in the dealer, never, unless he
Unle-
gets lucky.
no, no, unless he knows somebody. You
So,
see,
well,
but that
yeah,
that that's what I'm saying. For that to happen is part of the process. But you
right,
cannot be a cardiovascular doctor by knowing somebody. You cannot
exactly.
be doing heart surgeries just because you know somebody.
Mm-hmm,
Even if you know the owner of the hospital, you're not gonna be able to do that. You need to have that degree.
mm-hmm,
Maybe in a dealership, maybe you know the owner of the dealership and he might bring you in. Oh, he's my uncle. You see, you can affect the process, or you date his daughter, or
mm-hmm,
this, that. There's different ways that you see we can help out that is real as part of this
mm-hmm,
processes to bend the will of the process in your favor. But just because we run a ritual right now does not mean it's like abracadabra, how Tata Zongo was saying in his video. This stuff is not abracadabra. Things unfold in a process. And your decisions and decisions of the priest, he must treat things correctly for, let's say, that spirit to have that effect.
mm-hmm,
Now, the real question is, why is that? Because the spirit must abide by the natural order of things, code, binary code. If I cut my hand off, for example, I have no hand, had an accident or something like that, or I was in war, I have no hand, or my patient has no hand. No matter how much medicine I do, that hand cannot grow back the way it was. That goes against the natural order of things. You see
mm-hmm.
that? It goes against it. In code, in the reality, it doesn't fit. So when we have these patients or people go searching out Bahalaos or Baoriate, they go searching out Tatas and Yayas and Gangas, right? They must understand the processes. And if you are one of those priests, you have to understand the process to be able to affect it in your patient's favor. Um, because then we have this conversation. I know I like to speak towards more towards the priest. When you do medicine and you don't see effects, you have to stop everything that you're doing, anything that you're going to continue and start investigating why didn't you have effects? What happened along the process? If it was your divination, if it was if it was the ritual themselves, if it was the patient didn't listen to the advice, or if it's still part of the process, still hasn't unfolded. Specifically, when that process is very fast, things should go very fast. Other times, things need to take its time, which we're not going to speak experience because I can tell you, Tata Zongo obviously had his experience where he did a philosophy, ran a ritual today, and he expected to see effects 2 days from now. We're talking about major effects 2 days from now. And it does not happen like that. I told him, no, it does not happen like that. Remember,
Yeah.
time passed
Mm-hmm.
by, and a month later, everything happened. All the stuff and the agreements, everything fell right after that. The domino effect hit. That spirit
Mm-hmm.
was working towards that domino effect. Was 1 month a very long time to see that change?
No,
No.
no.
You see what I'm saying? So
It's
sometimes, we become desperate to see these things, to understand that we become caprichoso, stubborn, and we want things now. And life don't function like that. It's part of processes, and we must understand that. We have to understand it. And I'm speaking more towards the priest, not just the patients or people who are searching out priests, due to the fact that they should have this knowledge. If these priests don't have this knowledge, you know, this is a way for you guys to grow within the medicine.
mm-hmm.
Um, Now, I said that the Inkisi or the spirits must adhere to the code, binary codes of a natural process. Code is always stronger than bilongo, than just than plain medicine and intentions. And Paulo, when we do medicine, obviously it's divined, but the medicine has intentions, animistic ideas, Obviously, it has plants and animals and all of these type of powders and all of that stuff. But at the same time, it carries a code. Most of the times, it's within the months that we use, and it represents the reality for that infuma to create scenarios or create the circumstance in the future for things to unfold and have the effect that we want. Code is always stronger than bilongo. Um, so a priest, in my opinion, that doesn't understand code is going to be very hard for them to affect the the realm.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, there's priests who, and I'm gonna shout them out, like Bawalaos, who burn their eyelashes, have their nose stuck in a book, or under the wings of their godparents, oral tradition, listening to proverbs and memorizing everything about their codes. Same goes for the Obasis. It is not easy to memorize the Erin Dilogun or El Dilogun, especially if you speak English and your godparents are Spanish
Yeah.
and you're over here sacrificing yourself to memorize these things. And in Palo, obviously, our codes are different. Things are a little bit different within our lands. Um, but the divination system that you have must be phenomenal. It must be phenomenal. If it's not phenomenal, you're gonna have issues when it comes to understanding processes and having effects within them.
Hmm.
And I always applaud either Atata, Yaya, and Ganga, and Oba, Oriate,
Hmm.
and Bawalaos. And I'm even gonna say Yani Faz from Isheshe. Anybody who truly um perfects their divination and understanding of codes and messages, because they're not born at Piritita. You see, they're not born with these gifts. They deserve an applause because it's not easy.
Hmm.
And the stronger, the more that you study those codes, the stronger the medicine gets. Because Bilongo is very easy. It's animistic, at least in my understanding, it's very easy. It's animistic idea and intention with the spirit or the
Hmm.
deity. I'm gonna say like Orishas or Osan and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Any of those things. But the code is a different ballgame that you must understand what you're negotiating at the end of the day when it comes to do medicine. What's going on, Tata Bazu? Salam alaikum. Many blessings.
That's in Basel or in Banzu?
Mbazu.
It say
Mbazu.
it in Banzu. It says
Hmm.
it has an N
We got
on it.
AZ. We got AZ here. We got Will. Is Will on here? I think I seen Will.
Yeah, Will was here. That's all.
So we got to understand these processes. When we go inside the Insokongo, you see, before we go inside the Insokongo, we have all these processes, all these aspects of our life, and our decisions are causing these processes and aspects of our life to get out of balance within our matrimony, finances, and being a parent, and our jobs, and all of this, our health, our mental capacity, stress, all of these things, spirituality. And we as adults, we should be disciplined enough, consistent enough, knowledgeable enough to resolve these matters outside the room. You see that once you can't resolve them outside the room because it's out of your decisions, in other words, you're up against the ropes, like I say, then you go inside of the Nsokongo. Then I guess you go speak to your Orishas. Then you go do your thing with Ifa, right? With Orumila. Or
Hmm.
then you go searching out these priests. Because if your decision is not aligned with the process, and no matter how much medicine they do, the effect is not going to happen because you're going against the process. It's just that simple, that logic.
Hmm.
Now, once you're in the room, obviously divination will take place. Sometimes those inkisis will tell you, yes, we can resolve. Other times they say, no, we cannot resolve. You can resolve it. Other times they say you have to live it. No matter how much medicine you do, you're gonna have to live this process. And I'm being 100% honest. From
Mm-hmm.
my experience, just because you go tell your Nkisi, I need you to do this, does not mean it's gonna happen. I need I want a Mercedes, a 2025 Mercedes Benz outside my house right now. Fulasso. That car is not gonna magically appear in your garage. If you think that about Paulo, we're gonna have to nurture your understanding about these traditions
Mm-hmm.
because that's not part of the process. Things don't work like that.
Nope.
Um, and if you say that your Nkisi does not work because you did that and the Mercedes did not appear outside your house, we need to nurture you with the knowledge. Things happen within processes. Even spiritual warfare, it's a process of negotiations. Um, and I'm gonna say it again, this is not abracadabra. You don't just do run rituals and things happen.
I'm laughing. I'm just laughing because you know what came to my mind, right? Came to my mind sitting on a couch and waiting for work to call me to
Things
come
don't
to
happen like
me
that.
because I went to a priest of any tradition and they told me you're gonna get a job and I'm gonna stay home watching TV and I'm not gonna go out, put my resumes in, do my research online, fill them out online, go look around. No, I'm just gonna sit down on the couch, watch TV, and wait for the phone calls, the millions of phone calls to come in. That's crazy.
You see, and it don't happen like that. For that to happen, that and Kesey needs to truly, it's gonna take things out of balance. That goes against the natural order. It might have your mom or a friend come through
It's
and say,
too
"Look, I have
much.
a job for you to do that," but you might not want that job. Now, the job that you want is not gonna come to you. You're gonna have to go
Exactly.
out and search it. So it all depends on the process, and for you to understand that process, divination must take place. It
Exactly.
must take place. Look, here's Tata will say spirituality is not a subtle for hard work and responsibility. That a substitute for hard work and responsibility. That is true.
Yeah.
Responsibility as us being adults. Now, when it comes to the health situation, that's what I I truly enjoy. That one is out of your hands. That's what this thing is for. Traditional healing. Um, you have a cancer, you have lupus, you have a tumor, you have diabetes or failure within the liver, or you were born only with one kidney. You have all of these issues within the body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is what it's for. Let's go ahead and solve this issue. You
Mm-hmm.
have issues within your lymphatic system. This is what we have this for. But
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the person has to what they have to do align their decisions with it. Because if you have diabetes, we're doing medicine for things not to go worse, you don't have to chop a feet off or anything like that, or you lose a limb. You're
Mm-hmm.
over here eating all types of foods and sweets and all of these things. They're going
Mm-hmm.
against the process.
Yep.
Or we're doing, let's say, health work for you, and you decide to, well, once you got healthy, go to the blood bank and sell your blood. What are you doing? You see what I'm saying? These type of things, the decisions of the patient must align with the medicine because people do that.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Some of them sell
People
it.
do that.
Some of them
Yeah,
sell it. The
I
the plate
remember.
the platelets they sell them.
Yeah, no. When I was a boy, I was a god brother of mine. He was a very old man. Wherever he's at, hopefully, I know he's with Pimba. Hopefully, he's doing great. Um, my godfather did medicine for him, to boost up his health. Next thing you know, the guy is selling his blood in a blood bank in Miami. Like, what are you doing? At the time, I didn't understand. Why my godfather was so serious about it. But now that I'm older, I'm understanding things. I understand what was happening when I reflect back on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh man, mira que la gente. And what they're doing, they're exchanging their health for money.
Exactly.
You see that? And
Yep.
these are the things that we're referring that there's processes. Um, and as priests, you have to identify and understand the process for you to take on the job. If you don't know what you're doing, if somebody tells you, look, I have lupus, and you don't understand what lupus is, don't get involved. Do your research if you're going to take it on. But be careful. You see how you're going to affect that process and the
Hmm.
autoimmune disorder
Exactly.
or leukemia or any of that. Oh, you have a capital murder. If you don't understand the process and the state and all of that, be careful.
Hmm.
If there's a love work going on, a person comes to you for it. If you don't understand the process, don't take it on. If whatever process it is, a
Hmm.
financial process, don't take it on. Um, and then there's another thing that I want to speak here.
What about the
This is
possibilities? What about what are the what are the major possibilities? Right, we got the bilongo, we got the enfumbe, and we got the processes. Three,
Mhm.
right?
And then we
Major,
got codes,
and we
the
got
codes
codes. All
too.
right, but let's leave the codes because I know what when I say enfumbe is we dealing with the enfumbe through codes and
Hmm.
everything, right? Um, if we don't understand either or we don't really understand what the enfumbe is saying, then everything else is going to it's going down. It's going to down the drain because you could do everything that you want to save a person, but if you don't understand the process, if you don't let's say you understand the process, but you don't
Hmm.
understand what the Mfumbe is telling you, how are you going to be able to work that process?
Do you see? That's a weakness as a priest. So us as priests, we must identify our weaknesses and convert them to strength. Um, Instead of, let's say, going out to a bar to go drink or watch Netflix, you should be studying binary code. You should be studying your divination system. You should be investing in your profession at the end of the day. That's why I did a video on YouTube. So I was speaking about that this tradition takes a lot from you. It does take a lot from you because you have to constantly be studying and truly sharpening the tools that you have inside that room. And let's say it's not for the patient. Let's say it's just for yourself. You
Hmm.
have you can do it for yourself, for you
But
to be
this
able to resolve your own problems.
this
Because
is
that's what's
mainly for
happening.
you. This is mainly really for yourself, mainly. Dale.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most of the time, what do people do? They get initiated. They don't truly get well defined and independent. They go jump lands, not get crowned, not get well defined and made independent there. Maybe go even receive their hand of Ifa. They don't get well defined and they stay dependent. And that's all. You're always going to be dependent on somebody else to resolve your problem. You're never going to become independent. You don't have to be a godfather or a godmother, but at least be able to resolve your own problems. Because not all godparents are the same. You know, at least where I come from, I was very fortunate. I'm gonna say it again. I won the lottery already in my life. For some other people, you're gonna go to your godparents with issues and problems, and guess what? They're gonna charge you an arm and a leg.
Hmm.
And they're gonna keep charging you and charging and charging until you pick up knowledge so you can do what you have to do yourself. And you can't blame them for that because that's the truth. We're adults here.
Exactly.
Come on, no
Hmm.
podemos tapar el sol con la mano, you know what I'm saying? Con la mano no se tapa el sol, you can't cover the sun with your hand.
Hmm.
We have to see things for the
Logical.
truth, logical, the truth of it,
Hmm.
at the end of the day. But there's another thing that I wanted to speak about was, okay, so there's a process. Yeah, there's a process. And that process, we can affect it within the natural order that it's going to unfold or against it. If you do it with the natural order, it might take a little bit more time, but most of the time it's for balance. If you go against it, obviously, the change that will happen or the effect that you want will come, but it'll disbalance your life in some way.
Hmm.
Like I love using this one when I teach this. So when the priest is there to make this decision in the Nkisi room for himself or for the patient, it don't matter. If you want to affect yourself, affect your finances positively, you can go in the room, do the divination, the Fumbe agrees, and you do medicine not with a end goal. Animistic ideas, obviously, I got a bunch of them. And you run your ritual with the natural order of things, and you'll go out hunting for, um, let's say, prosperity. Getting side jobs or doing this, doing that, and the roads were open that way. But let's say you say, no, I want $1 million tomorrow. I want $1 million as soon as possible. There's a natural order for you to receive $1 million, isn't there? Through
Mm-hmm.
investment, through opening your business, through marketing, through social media. There's a bunch of ways, but there's a natural process of it, and it's not overnight or in a month. You see that? It's not
Mm-hmm.
overnight or over a month. But let's say if you want it overnight or in a month, $1 million. You see, there's only a few avenues that are there for you to receive a lot of money fast. One is illicit activities. So the Mfumba is going to bring that to you if you're around that.
Mm-hmm.
What's another one? Lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. You were working at McDonald's, or you decided to go inside of McDonald's, you slipped and fell, and there you go. You can sue for $1 million.
Death insurances.
Death insurances. You got a grandparent who has a
Mm-hmm.
life insurance that you don't
Policy.
know about. They're out of this
Mm-hmm.
realm, and you get that money. You see, that's understanding how the process and how things are unfolding. But you, as the priest, needs to understand what you're negotiating and what you're doing and what effects are you about to have.
That's the problem.
You have to understand that. And if obviously you're a patient who's going to a priest, you need to understand what this priest is about to negotiate. Most of the time, you guys won't because you're not initiated, which is fine. But at least the priest needs to understand and know what this patient is wanting from him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you tie things too strong, you'll have negative effects. If you do things too fast, you'll have negative effects. Um, just like anesthesia. If you put too much anesthesia into somebody, you're gonna kill them.
You're gonna kill.
If you put too little bit of anesthesia, he's gonna wake up during surgery. You have to put just the perfect amount.
Yep.
That's why there's a saying in Kimo Dundas book, the medicine of the community must be well understood. You must understand exactly what's gonna ripple out your room, what's about to happen. And this is something that within our tradition and all the traditions, but specifically in Palo, we have lost. Priests don't care anymore for how things are unfolding. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to take your time to truly negotiate what is the best avenues for it. Because when I was younger and I did medicine, yeah, I seen the effects, but they were like hurricanes. It caused change in all aspects, fast.
Yeah.
Se
Yeah.
balanceaba muy rápido.
Yeah.
My change came too fast. And maybe that was because the type of person who I am, I was an extremist. Now I'm more mature, more well grounded. But when I was younger, I was an extremist. I did things and I overkilled it, overshot it. Maybe it has to do with my codes, but that was just the way I did it. And I seen the effects, but I also carry the negative behind it, which wasn't necessarily there. And I learned great lessons because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Great lessons, which that can be a very bad thing. And we're
Mm-hmm.
here doing this live for that, for these priests who are deciding to work the traditions for the community, and they need to understand the processes. And
We
for the patients who are coming, understand that things don't work like abracadabra.
we call that bad medicine.
Yeah, if the medicine is too strong, it's bad medicine. To a man with a hammer, everything
Just
looks
like
like
a
a
nail.
nail. Yeah, let's go, bro.
Hey.
Yeah. You see, this old man always, oh man, he has so many teachings. When a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Yeah, but what is the exchange for a quick money talk about that? He said, what?
What is a quick exchange for money? Talk about that. For quick
What's a quick
money.
for quick money,
Quick
right?
money. And selling drugs.
All right. So if a person comes, right, let's say you see, they're selling dope and all of that stuff. At least me as a priest, I pass no judgment. I try not to get myself involved with those affairs. Um, but you see, I do what my Nkisi tell me to do at the end of the day. I do what they tell me. They say, no, I don't do that stuff. Anyway, um, what could be an exchange for that? Well, you know that if he's selling drugs, you gotta understand the process. Right? Is
Mm-hmm.
he a little fish or a big fish?
Hey,
You see,
oh,
if he's a
middle
little
fish.
fish, you see, if he's a little fish and what age is he at? You know, you just have to make sure that he doesn't get killed, right? If he's
Mm-hmm.
in the corner selling nicks and dimes or doing deliveries, nicks and dimes and half ounces and stuff like that, um, that's a little fish. You
Mm-hmm.
see, for him to truly boost up his sales, he needs to become a bigger fish. So obviously he has to invest himself in those things. But let's say now he's a bigger fish.
More
Now we
risk.
have to make sure that there's more risk and he's only re-upping, how they say, right? Or investing in the material and
Mm-hmm.
he's selling it off. Those transactions are the ones where the weaknesses lie, where he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get caught. And those things obviously have been within these traditions all the time. The cartels come to us searching for these things. I don't judge a priest who does those things, but I try not to get involved in those affairs, due to the fact that my father was I lost my real father, which you know something bad came out of something good. I had those effects within my family, all the trauma and all of those things.
Yep.
But I don't judge, you know. Dios dijo que el listo vive más pendejo, and that's the way life is. That's the way the jungle is,
Mm-hmm.
you know. It's a eat or be eaten, kill or
All
be
right.
killed. I pass
Survival of
no
the
judgment.
fittest. Survival of the fittest.
That's survival of the fittest, right? I pass no judgment on the priests who do those things, but I'm just giving the knowledge to the ones who do it. Um, to you see that type of person who let's say is affecting the process within their finance heavily, like moving drugs and all that type of stuff. He needs to see where the weaknesses lie, and the medicine needs to be accorded to that. When he's reinvesting to buy more material, and when he's selling it, right, to give it off to the buyers that are buying it from him. Um, so
Yeah,
you have
but
to be careful with that. So divination most of the time will be involved in makutos for him not to get mugged or killed and all of these things.
yeah, but
So
he
that's
also
part of that process. You got to understand that process.
but
What you
with
got?
that process, those type of people that are in that environment, right? It's not a one time thing and that's it. You understand? Especially if you're constantly around that, we're gonna call it negative because everybody knows the word negative. Negative. There's a consistency that you have to have
Kinenga.
when you're doing that type of stuff. So you could speak on that.
Yeah. So what we're speaking about is kinenga. That same person, you see, he can go get a job and he can affect his kinenga within his finances little bit positive, little bit over time.
Mm-hmm.
Then in a way where it's negative, you see where there's a lot of risk big at one time. In other words, there's a saying that they say, comer poquito todos los días o mucho una sola vez. Would you rather eat a little bit every single day or would you rather eat good
Only once.
once a month? You see what
And
I'm
that's
saying?
it. Yeah.
So which one is more harder to sustain?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the one that's more harder is the one that's more towards the risk, that heavier one. So you see that it has a lot of ripple effects negatively, a lot of loose ends to that. And you have to make process is in the client's favor or in that priest's favor, whoever's doing that type of stuff. You see that? I mean, real quick, money or results come with an exchange. Oh, he's talking about this. He's saying it depends on the circumstance, though. Quick money on exchanges. There's all type of exchanges that us priests that we know. I'm gonna say it
Mm-hmm.
through here, Andy. I'm gonna say it. This is. I'm gonna say things. Exchange. So now what Tata is saying, we must understand what money is, and money, all it is an exchange, and we're exchanging probability.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, just probability and value. That's all that it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that many of us priests that carry mania because we understand the process of what money is. we take it to our advantage, right? I'm gonna say it through here.
I'm,
Sometimes let's say there's a homeless person on the side of the street
I'm turning
begging,
red.
right? We have $10, $20 in our wallet, a bunch of ones or whatever. We grab the money, we clean ourselves with it. We say, take all the negativity away from me. And
Hmm.
we lower the window down and we tell them, take. We give it to the homeless person. You see, we gave him value, but we also gave him the negativity that we had.
We had a
You see that?
transaction. We made a transaction.
We made a transaction, and the exchange is there. You see that? That's a form of exchange. AZ speaking about rapid, very rapid exchanges. The more rapid exchange that you have, or bringing into balance that kinenga, um, the more negative effects you will see or disbalances. It goes against the natural order of things. So us as priests, when we're doing divination, we have to truly identify that, understand that. At the end of the day, like for example, that's other stuff we do. Like if you find money laying around, be careful.
Yeah, picking it
Y-
up. Yeah.
Picking up things from the ground or doing this
Hmm.
because priests can do those type of
Hmm.
situations to exchange things.
And the
Um,
botanicas in the stores, all that.
to buy in Kisses. I remember I had an experience with my godfather like that. Hey, what do you mean about that? Keys had some blue powder on it. What's going on? It was hollowed out. It didn't have nothing in it. But you have to make sure. I went and bought this in Keys and maybe it was full of sickness because somebody did. Then exchange of life. Now I have all those ailments and problems.
Hmm.
These are the things that we're referring to. That every transaction, this that we're doing is a transaction.
Exactly.
Believe it or not, I was speaking back and forth. I'm affecting you guys the same way you guys are affecting me.
Everything.
Um, with the knowledge and the future decisions that we're gonna have. It's just that obviously for non-initiated, they're still somewhat asleep. He said that makes a lot of sense. I don't touch nothing that ain't mine. Yes.
She better not. You can't.
Malaikum salam, how you doing, Mr. Adam?
How you doing, Mr. Adams? Yeah.
So these are things that we're referring to within the finance processes. The only reason why many of you guys or all of us here, we're not, let's say, billionaires, is because we don't understand the process and we haven't decided and took the actions necessary to get to that effect.
Hmm.
That's the only reason why.
Hmm.
If you knew and you had the knowledge and you were consistent with the actions, you'll get there. Now
Hmm.
the thing is, everything's a negotiation. If you go within your finances and you decide to have that, what are you negotiating? Your family, your
Hmm.
health, your time. So you truly have to understand and comprehend where you're pointing your sales to, or the mon, how we call it,
The steering wheel.
your steering wheel. You have to truly understand that to get directions, where you're pointing your compass to.
Right.
Because you going down those paths in your life, making those decisions, you're still negotiating the good and the bad. Because
Yep.
the good pulls the bad and the bad pulls the good. You can't have one without the other.
Yep.
And that's just within the finances, the finance aspect. Within love life, we can speak about, I was speaking about this not too long ago. Within the love affairs, most people tend not to handle that, but I do. I have. I have done that. And love works, oh man, it is the same thing. You have to understand the processes. All relationships have a certain level of love and what is love and all of that stuff. But either relationships grow together or they grow apart based on the decisions that we make. Either you're going to make them grow together or you make a decision that's going to take a hatchet to that relationship, to those knots or that tree or whatever you want to consider it.
Hmm.
All right. So if you have a woman that comes to me that her spouse has left her, you need to understand the process. Why has he left her? You see
Hmm.
that? Why has he left this woman? Divination needs to be involved. Beep, 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 all that stuff. And then if you want to do that type of affair, if you think it's good for, oh, there's kids involved, this and that, he left her for a younger woman or whatever, then how are you going to bring him back? and how you're going to tie the knots. And then on top of it, how does she need to understand to lay a foundation for that relationship to grow together? And that guy who was a cheater change his ways, his morality, his standpoint, because he has to grow within maturity. You see that? She is making the ultimate sacrifice. She needs to know self-worth. If a guy cheats on you, you should let him go. But she's insistent. She's
Hmm.
saying, look, I'm trying to get the benefits out this guy. This is my baby daddy. You know, I'm trying to have a family. Well, you can do the medicine with no judge passing judgment and do it and pull those people together, right? But have to understand how to affect that process of these two people. And that person has to lay a foundation within that relationship. Let's say the person left, her husband left her because she had stink breath. See, she had that disease,
Yeah, gingivitis or something.
gingivitis or something. You see, if I'm a priest and it comes out reading, no, he left you, yeah, he's cheating on you and all of that, but it's because you have stink breath. If I fix the stink breath problem, all I need to do is do the medicine, pull him in, get those late night texts, how are you doing? They start coming together, and then easily things will unravel. You see what I'm saying? It's very logical to understand a process and how to affect it. But you have people trying to do love work, just grab a picture, turn on a candle, and put some honey in a jar, and that's it. It don't work like that. That's just bare bone intentions. You got to understand the process.
Hmm.
He said, he said, not the
Yeah,
stink breath. No, it can be that. It can
could
it can
be
be
that.
that,
Yeah.
right? We don't know why, or she's nagging and all the time does this. Oh, you have to change your character, and you have to be a better woman for him to truly come back around. These are the negotiations that we're talking about
But
when it comes
even
to affecting these processes.
but even with doing, let's say, the love work, right? I'm not too fan of love work, um, because I'm of the understanding that if someone doesn't care for me or love me anymore or want to be with me anymore, then I'm not, why am I going to force a person to be with me? But I understand that there's different situations. Uh, I even lost my train of thought. What the heck was I going to say? Because that love thing just broke me apart.
Yeah, no, no, they can. That's what I'm saying. People can come for it. I do it based on circumstance. I don't always do it, but I will do it based on circumstance. Are there kids involved?
I got you
You see what
now.
I'm saying?
I got you now. This is what I was going to say. I was going to ask, what about when you do that love work? Does that love work? Because we're talking about processes, right? And a lot of people are going to think, if they do not understand that the love work that you do is an ever binding love work. You understand? Meaning that love work, if that person that wants that other person back, right? And you was able to bring that person to that male or female's life again, do they have to make effort?
They have to make effort. They have to make decisions based on the decision, based on the process. My bad. Their decisions have to align with that process. In
Right.
other words, we did medicine and now he's trying to take you out on a date and you don't want to go. Or you're arguing with him and a bunch of drama and all of that stuff, or dating other
Hmm.
guys and cheating also on the side. You can't
Hmm.
do any of that. You
Right.
see, most of the time you gotta send them a therapy. Man, try to go to therapy. Hopefully the guy can go to therapy and they can,
I'm thinking
develop their
because
the character.
you start hindering the process, because if you got somebody to do medicine for you and you was able to bring that person in, whether through a call, whether through a visit, or back in the person's life, and you're doing things on the contrary, you know a lot of people think that even if they do things on the contrary, that medicine should still work. you know
You can go against the processes. Your decisions can go against it, and you can ruin the process. And that's the truth. It's
Yeah.
just like within anything, let's say for to bring in a child or a woman that wants to bear children.
Right.
That's a specific process. You must understand the ovulation process. And if she's the one that's bad, or if it's her husband within his reproductive system is weak, which one is it? Divination's involved. You see what I'm saying? Let's say it is the woman, then you have to understand ovulation. You have to understand the stuff that she has to consume, the teas and and obviously the
Polo.
uterus rogation, uterus rogations you have to do.
Hmm.
Um, when is the perfect time after menstruation to for them to have into sexual intimacy to have a child? Are you catching the full moon to bring in that ancestor for them to have that? And then after is within conception, the medicine that has to keep going in there because obviously you have to make sure uh that she don't have a thin cervix lining and all the issues and
Hmm.
problems that come with that. Also, you have to understand that.
Yeah, they
And
don't
the
got
code
quite.
and for codes to be the DNA to be coded correctly, so there's no autism or
Hmm.
any
Down
issues or problem
syndrome and
or
stuff like that.
miscarriages or any of that stuff.
Hmm.
You see, you have to understand that process.
Hmm.
Let's say we run the rituals, but she has no sexual intimacy, or she don't listen to the advice. You think that effect's gonna come out good? No, no. You see that? The same thing, the same way we can bring people together is a process. The same way it is to pull them apart, it's a process.
Hmm.
Same way is to cause havoc, there's a process. The same way it is to now, if it has to be within the process. Now, let's say you
Hmm.
have a woman who wants to get pregnant, but her uterus is empty. They took it out,
Dry. It's
vaciaron.
dry. Yeah, it's
It's
dry.
dry,
They took it out.
vaciaron, or she's on menopause.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, you see that process does not exist there anymore. It's just like cutting your hand off. You see, it doesn't exist. There's no probability anymore, no
Hmm.
possibility.
Hmm.
So you can't go against the process, natural order of things.
Right.
Now, if there's a percentage, a 10%, 15%, we can work it in your favor.
Hmm.
As long as the Mfumbas agree. And that's all that we're doing. That's what's truly going on. Um,
Hmm.
to affect things.
And I'm not trying to say that the Enfumba is not going to do his work. The medicine, as long as it's well made and that's, and it's done correctly, it's going to do its job. The problem is that instead of you helping, you being kind, you being loving, because if you want that loved one to come back, you want them that bad or you want her that bad, then you got to change. You got to change your way of being. You got to be, there's words that we use, and we say, I'm not going to say it here, pero tú sabes que dicen que la mujer tiene que ser una prostituta en la casa y una dama en la calle.
Hmm.
You understand? Because there's always a man or
Yes,
woman out there for
yeah,
someone.
yeah. He's saying she has to be good in bed, and she has to be a female and a very classy woman, I guess, in the streets and I guess to the public
To the
eye.
society, exactly.
You see, and that affects her marriage. That's the type of woman is affecting her marriage. The way
And
she carries herself and all of that affects the marriage. Same thing for the man.
and the man also,
Whole.
yeah.
So you see that what we're speaking about a person's character. So you telling me my medicine and my infumba, I really have to amp him up and teach him to affect this person's character consistently and not those things in for them to be that type of way. When they were young, they don't have those morals, codes, and values. So now we have to change the morals, codes, and values for them to sustain a process. Because if you have the effects, after that, it can crumble. See what I'm saying? Once you start
Right.
seeing the effects, you remove them from hala patran, that's it. The things will crumble. Same way you open a business, same thing, you can crumble it if you don't maintain the process. So then it's not about just getting there, it's about gaining and maintaining these processes. What I always say, gain and
Getting
maintain,
maintained. Hmm.
and run through the cycles. But it's on both. It says once the hand is cut off, it has been a fixed
It has
destiny.
become a
Now
fixed
we're talking
destiny
about.
and can be changed. If the hand is still there but broken, it can be fixed by mutable destiny
You see what
or,
I'm saying?
or
And that
mutatable.
mutable
Mutatable
destiny,
destiny.
which that's what we're speaking about negotiation. Now, inside the room, you see, these are physical processes that we're speaking about. Inside the room, like Andy was saying, the Fumba's going to do what it has to do. You have to base the medicine
Hmm.
on the process.
Hmm.
For example, let's say the love work. We're going to do love work. Or let's say a court situation. You see, I like to cause havoc is a lot easier to explain. It always is. Instead
Yeah,
of cause
but
havoc. You want somebody to get out to somebody's job, they'll
yeah.
get fired. You have to do the medicine based on that. You can't sit there and start thinking whatever comes out your mind, no divination, and run a ritual, put intentions into it, tell them Fumba what to do, and that's it. It don't work like that. You have that process inside the room is animistic idea, and we
Hmm.
based everything on that. And the animals obviously is energy to give them Fumba, and we
Hmm.
run that process, and we tell them that ritual, and we tell the person do what you have to do, throw this here, do that, do this. Time starts to pass by, and that person gets fired. Same thing with love work. You can't do it too strong because the guy then becomes overly jealous and beats on the woman and can kill her. You can't do it too weak because the guy is still gone. You
Hmm.
see, those don't even want to speak to her at all. You have to do it just somewhat perfect, neither too strong, neither too weak,
Just
et
right.
cetera, et cetera. Just right,
Mhm.
just right. And that divination has to be there. That, the codes, the ritual, the females, all of that is based on that.
Now talk about now that you're on that topic, right? And we still on the same topic anyway. But that process, right? And those rituals and those females and those animals and everything that you're doing, is it one time that you do that, or is there consistency on the side of the priest, the priestess that's actually doing the trabajo or has done the trabajo? Don't we still have to be on top of that? Don't we still have the continuance? That's just not we did this one time and that's it. Okay, you got it. Bye bye.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It all depends on how well the occasion and the process. It all depends on the angle. You
Mm-hmm.
see, it all depends on that angle and how fast things are going to unfold and how things are functioning within a specific process. A court case, you
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? Once you run this ritual, the court case is 2 weeks from now. You're waiting for that court case. He did it. Are you going to keep doing medicine for that court case? It already
No, no,
passed.
no, no.
You see, so that's a different process than a
Right.
love work, than finances, than your health is different. All these things and the processes are different. And then two, um, no puede, you can't, no puede, que mucha vaca poco aprieta. You can't bite more than you can chew. You can't be running, my advice, this is me as a priest. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
running a love work, exchange of life, initiations, building in cuyos and in kisis, doing a court process all in 1 week. You can't do that. That's too much. Let's say you have like one in Kisi, but still in the room, that is too much. Oh, and running a spiritual war. You can't do all of that all at the same time. Está abarcando mucho para apretar poco. You're
Mm-hmm.
biting more than you can chew.
True.
You're grabbing more than you can handle. There's too many processes that you're involved in, and your fumbas are, and you have to keep divining and divining and divining, to see you in the state, the status that they're on, how to keep it in there, the client and their decisions and how things are unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if a spiritual war don't pop off. If it pops off because you're doing love work and that person's initiated, you're gonna pop off a spiritual warfare. You see what I'm saying? You have to truly understand how things can unfold,
Mm-hmm.
cover all angles.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, and then this is why these patients come and they're charging them these priests. There's certain priests who charge you an arm and a leg to work a court process. 7, 8, 9, 10 grand, 12 grand, 15 grand. Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
they get you off with house arrest. Oh, you got caught with 8 kilos and you went to see this priest, he charged you 12 grand and you got off with house arrest. You see? And you didn't get deported.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because if you had a residency. You
Right.
see, these are the things that we're referring to. He was able to build it, but he just can't stop the process and make things get eliminated. No, they're still there. He's just trying to bend that to your will
Mm-hmm.
to the least effect negatively on you.
Mm-hmm.
Or a love work. That takes a lot of time. That's a lot of energy there. A lot of things. Um, Spiritual battles that you get involved. Oh, I want you to mess up this person. They're initiated. You're like, oh man, vamos a meterme camisa once varas. These people are balados, paleros, and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and fight for this person over an argument. They're paying me to fight their war for them. You got to understand those processes,
Mm-hmm.
those negotiations, the battlefield, your opponent. That's a book that I'm writing, but that's a
Yeah.
whole different thing.
If it's worth
Um,
it, if it's worth even getting into that.
if it's worth getting into those type of affairs. You see, these are the things that I'm referring to you. It's a lot of things that go into play,
Yep.
and there's a bunch of exchange.
Hmm.
And us as priests and the people who are searching out for priests to handle their stuff, you must align your decisions with it. Especially with these readings. People go get reading, reading here, reading here, reading here. Man, you go get a reading from a Babalao, or you go get a reading from an Obao that they with the cowrie shells, or a Palero. Do what's recommended. If you don't have the money to do what's recommended, don't get the reading. Just don't. Just don't go.
Hmm.
Don't go there. Don't go there. You see what I'm saying? Don't do that.
Yeah, don't
But
keep
that
hopping and hopping and hopping and hopping. They don't like the reading because they didn't hear what they wanted to hear. Now they go somewhere else. They don't like that. They go somewhere else. They don't even know what's going on and what people in these
yeah.
traditions could do to you.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I'm saying good allows. You give me people who know what they're doing and good obauriate, maestro la estera. You see what I'm saying? A person that knows what he's doing when he's sitting in the mat. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And a good palero or an engangulero, how they say, a good tata or yaya. You go get these readings, man. They're nailing things down in your future. The probabilities of these processes, they're nailing them down for you to do the medicine now in the early stages for things not to come to fruition. And then you have the situation that I'm pretty sure Andy has lived this. I lived this a whole lot. And sometimes it's not medicine. Sometimes it's a decision. I tell them, the Fuma saying, don't do this. Don't make this decision. Oh, yeah, yeah, they agree. You know why the binary code that they're not going to listen. Yeah, I already know it. I
Hmm.
nailed it. They don't listen. They make the decision. They call you back. Didn't I tell you 2 months ago not to make that decision?
That
Andy, have
happened.
you lived that?
That happened.
That happens to
That
you.
happened to me last week. You know, I tried to help a gentleman on. I told him, I gave him what the Nkishi said, and here I get a call 2 days later from his wife that the man went through a situation that I had spoken about, and I had already warned them, but they don't take things to mind. You know, it's like, why then? Why get a reading for?
See, then why get a reading for it? That's what I'm referring to. It's like I don't get people. I really don't understand it, but to each his own, to each his own. And these are the things that we all have to understand as people, as priests, or searching for priest. Because this is not game. These things are not a
Hmm.
game. These things are serious.
Yeah.
And at least me, when I go to do medicine, I'm searching for effects. I
Hmm.
did this medicine and I'm bound to see the effects. Because my godfather told me, todo lo que tú hagas arriba de este fundamento, tarde o temprano va a ver su efecto. Everything that you do with this in Kisi, sooner or later you'll see your effects. And I've
Hmm.
and I and he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. And anybody within Palos, the same thing. They built these Inkisis, they gonna have effects.
Hmm.
Ifa, the same thing. La Ocha, the same thing. These things are serious. This is not, I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say it. This is not turn on a candle, which it could work, but turn on a candle and work the court system in that way.
Yeah.
Buy $4 candles and make this one represent the judge and candle magic. This is not that. These things are involving spirits and deities and messing with binary codes or interacting, not messing, but
Hmm.
interacting with binary codes. This is a different playing field. This is not just bare bone intentions
Hmm.
and bilongo, which candles and all of that stuff and whatever you're gonna do is bilongo for us. It's not just that. This has spirits involved and it has deities and all this stuff involved. Well, if you go to La Ocha and Ifa, Orisas and all this involved, there's things that are taking responsibility for these rituals. Ashu's involved, this guy's involved, they're involved to bend the will of that process to the client's favor or the priest's favor or whoever it is, the patient's favor.
Hmm.
It is not just turn on a few candles and throw some intentions, which is fine. If that's all that you got, it's better that than nothing.
Yeah.
But it's a different playing field, not just bare bone intentions,
Yeah,
you
there's
know.
levels. There's levels to certain things. There are things that you could do with candles. We're not saying you cannot do things with candles and intentions and use your spirituality and stuff like that. There are things that you could do, but when there are things that are and a magnitude that's very it's it's up there, then you gotta boost up that medicine.
Yeah, you gotta have your intentions now need to be backed up by medicine and spirits.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? Then that's the truth of it. You know, that's the main thing that I wanted to speak about in this live. For the people who are priests, to search down and understand processes, go buy some law books and
Mm-hmm.
start studying law books. You know,
Yeah.
he sent me a bunch of law books, a bunch of things. I be reading them
Mm-hmm.
from time to time and understanding law. How many
Right.
different type of charges are there?
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, look, how many different type of charge? You want to work the court process? How many type of charges are there? Do you know that? What's an
Mm-hmm.
infraction, misdemeanor, a felony, the different degrees within it? A
Mm-hmm.
DUI. This is experience. I'm gonna give you guys some of that for the priests who might have a DUI on their hands. A DUI situation. You got a client. You know he has court for a DUI. If they did the DUI with a breathalyzer, you see the probability is easier for that to get knocked down from a felony to a misdemeanor. Why? Because most of the time that breathalyzer can be out of calibration, or the police officer
Mm-hmm.
um is not
Defective.
trained. Yeah,
Defective.
is not up to date with the training.
Mm-hmm.
So when your lawyer goes up against the prosecutor and he's searching for these things, it bends the process in the defendant's favor, which is yours or their clients. You see that? So now all I need, the medicine with the mfumbe or your nkisi is not as strong as it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And now, obviously, if you got in an accident and they took you to jail, I mean, to the hospital, and they did blood draw, or they probably took you to jail, but it depends how messed up you were. But let's say you do took you to the hospital and they did the analysis by blood,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes out there that
Positive.
your percentages were over. That is very hard. That is concrete evidence of the DUI, not like the breathalyzer that maybe it was at a cow. You have a
Mm-hmm.
slighter chance, a better probability. Guess how I would know that? If I should take the avenue of the breathalyzer, should we lessen the medicine now? Divination. Because I understand the process. When the patient tells me, yeah, they breathalyze me. I'm asking that Infuma, hey, is that stuff out of cow and all of these things? The Infuma needs to understand these things need to be well built, but the codes need to be there for
Mm-hmm.
that circumstance. He's telling you, yeah, go ahead, don't worry about it. They're gonna throw it out, they're gonna throw it down to a misdemeanor. Anyway, it's the first offense. You see, because you understand the process. These are the things that we're referring to about these processes. That's for a DUI, which a lot of people go through, don't they? A lot of people go through these processes.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got to go to these classes. Maybe the license got suspended. All of this stuff.
Yeah, I
They
seen the
go through
cars
these
with the
processes.
trinket. You got to blow in the car before the car ignition turns on. A lot of
And
stuff.
not everybody gets that, but you see, it's part of a process. Some people might not.
Not, yeah.
And that all depends on what was negotiated at that time for that process with that judge, that prosecutor, and
Mm-hmm.
the defendant. You see that?
Right.
That's court. If you don't understand the court processes, you should not be doing no medicine for them. If you don't know what it is to get booked in, that process, how it goes to go
Mm-hmm.
to jail, and then to be in there, how to get bond. If you
Mm-hmm.
can't get bond based on the charges, all of that stuff, you should not be going doing no medicine as a priest. You should not be handling none of those court situations or process at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's why I know enough, but I don't take on a lot of that. I do conception work. Or you're doing illegal things, or you're doing this, you're doing divination. Oh, you like to go out drinking every weekend to the bar, and that stuff is coming out. Binary code, Masaya Montali, alcoholism. Oh, you're an alcoholic. Look, we gotta do this makuto to make sure that you don't get caught, get pulled over with a DUI.
Right.
And if you do, make sure the affidavit is written wrong, or that calibration thing, the breathalyzer is out of cow to bend things to your favor once the issue hits. You see now,
Mm-hmm.
if the problem is there, you see that's a little bit out of my playing field because I know certain things, but I don't know everything about the process. And once you have a public defender, or once you get a private lawyer, how that Nfumba's telling you that. Because sometimes the people don't have the money. And you tell them, look, don't get the private lawyer, get a public defender, pay me, and we're gonna see what we gotta do. Or pay the priest and see what we have to do. Because bare minimum, I know a priest, 3,500 is the basic thing that he charges to get involved with a court issue, a court problem. That's the basic thing. So if you guys have court problems and court issues, you want me to refer you to them, he's the basic is gonna be 3,500. So don't be calling my time. I'm talking about I have this court problem. Send me to that priest. I'm like, his basic stuff he's gonna hit you with 3,500 for him to even look into that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? But he knows that process very well, which I've learned many things, animistic ideas, how he runs his rituals sometimes. Same thing within the house.
Oh.
I'd be teaching him about anatomy and the body and how to affect it in a positive way and a negative way too, because obviously to cause havoc on a body and illnesses. If you know how to heal it, you know how to also curse it. Same thing, he knows how to take people out of prison. He knows how to bring them in because you know the process, um, et cetera, et cetera. You see, this is not just initiations. Any priest can do initiate. They initiate. That's anybody can initiate. Anybody can initiate. That does not make a priest 500 God kids. No, 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 no. That's not this. This is not Palo or any of that. Where your true medicine is tested as a priest, not for the public to know, for yourself to know. It's to see the effects, to see
Exactly.
the knowledge. That's where you're going to be tested at. Let's see what Will said. Intended results have a recoil and manifest as a paradox. The bigger the change, the more unlikely the change, and the greater the paradox that work against it. We turn to the spirit to mitigate the paradox. 100%. That spirit it mitigates it. It holds it a placa. We say that in Spanish, a placa, the situation. And there's binary codes that they're rigid. You know that you can't escape that process when when you're doing divination. That you're forced to live.
Yeah.
Like for for example, let's say that somebody comes to me and tells me that I do a reading and I'm like, look, your gallbladder is messed up. You see that they have issues with their gallbladder, rocks and stones in it, and infection. You see, that person needs to get their gallbladder removed. No matter how much medicine I do, it just is not going to have a miracle and stop having that issue. I can slow the process down of the ailment, but sooner or later they're going to have to get that gallbladder removed and run through the surgery. So what's the process? I'm like, well, she needs to go to the doctor, set up at a surgery, give me the doctor's information, let me speak with whichever in case he wasn't to handle. Most of the time it's Sarawanda, or it can be Kawaii, one of the two, but most of the time it's gonna be Sarawanda for that surgery. And do the medicine that's required for that day. That doctor didn't have an argument with his wife, and he's not in a pissed off mood or wasn't studying and went to sleep at 4 in the morning. Now he's gonna go do a surgery. He's clear minded. He's in the best feeling ever that day, and he's truly conscious of what he's doing. He's not stressed out, and he everything goes well with the surgery. You see that? So things can be bended in the favor of your patient. These are the things that I'm referring to. So you have to know what's being negotiated within the process. How you doing, Kat? Malaikum salam. That's my other gossip, man.
Yeah.
Um, so these are the things that I'm referring to, and I learned that from my godfather, man. That's why I always said I was like, how the heck he knows so many things? Obviously, he was working with all these processes. Obviously, you don't want to live these type of processes, but he was working with them, you know. And as time goes by, and the older you get, and you live situations, you understand the process of what is a divorce, what it is to pay child support. So somebody comes to you trying to get divorced, you understand the process. You see, if you never experienced that, it is harder for you to truly and the reading and to speak that to them within the reading and affect it within the room because there's missing factors that you don't understand
Right.
while that person is going through it. But if you've been through it, you know what it feels like, and you know what to affect and what were your mistakes or what were right decisions that bend the things to your will in that in those circumstances. So now you do it for the patients because it's the same pattern or somewhat the
Hmm.
same pattern that they're gonna live.
Hmm.
You get me?
Yeah, that's why I always hear right from different elders that they wait to a certain, if they got someone, right, someone that wants to learn or wants, it's a prospect, you understand, but whether male or female, that they rather wait for that person to for that young person to be to a certain age before they even initiate them, because they want them to at least grasp a little bit of life knowledge, a little bit before, because it's not the same initiating somebody. Well, yours is a different case, and a lot of people are not like yours, but some are. Um, if you don't understand life, how are you going to be able to understand what they're trying to feed to you? You're like a babe. You understand? You're not going to really understand what really the process you need to take, or how it should be, how you should walk. You gotta, like I always say, you gotta crawl before you walk. But I take it to my life, because if I was 18 years old, um, and let's say I was initiated, right, and I'm being taught by an elder, yeah, I could grasp, I could get a lot of the knowledge, I could study, um, but there's a lot of things, like you said, that you'll be missing because you haven't gone through that. You don't know.
Like me,
Hmm.
Andy, how many times have I called you and asked for advice? How many times about life
Yeah,
and processes?
yeah, you have.
That's
Yep.
the same thing for all my other God children and stuff that I have that
Hmm.
they're older, or other priests that are older that under Will's another one. All these priests,
Hmm.
they've been living life longer than me,
Hmm.
and they understand what life is. So I search for that advice. If I'm eight, when I was 18, oh no, I see a top of deal. That's why I didn't have a house or any of that stuff or God kids or any of that. I had my
Hmm.
Kisses, but obviously I didn't have that. I understood processes to a certain thing and certain things like that, but not fully. Um, not in that way. No way, Jose. Once I became
Hmm.
independent, that's how things are. But how many times, Andy, have I asked for advice from you?
Ah, a
How
whole
many
bunch of
times?
times. A whole bunch of times. A whole bunch
And
of times. And there's no shame in that, because that's
no
that's
shame.
that's I mean, that's the name of the game. You always were taught, you learn from your elders, you understand? And it's not that it just has to do with the tradition, with the religion thing, because you see, my Tata is younger than me. He has more knowledge, you know, based
Within the
on
within
within,
the traditions, we're
yeah.
around the same with the same belt. We're on the same belt. He said I have more knowledge, but no, he might say experience. Oh, he's been longer in. But within life, he outdoes me. Me da vuelta because he's
Yeah,
lived too
run
much.
circles around him.
Yeah, and obviously, if I have a godson, or most of all my god kids, they're older than me. Why am I not going to take that to my benefit? If I'm gonna make a decision, like I have god kids who are retired from the military. I'm in the military. Their
Hmm.
advice is golden to me. When they tell me do this, do that. When you sign contracts, you need to make sure of this. You need to make sure of that. You need to do this. Look,
Hmm.
this is your websites that you can do. These are the things that they already lived, and I'm
Hmm.
going through it now. And that's that. These are the golden tickets. They're affecting my processes in a beneficial way. While the same thing is when they're inside there in Sogongo, I'm like, look at this animistic idea. This one's better. This is this. This is
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
and it's communal because in unity
Yeah.
lies strength.
Exactly.
Unity lies strength, and that's the truth.
That's the way it is, man. That's the way it is.
And hopefully you guys are understanding what these processes and all this stuff is. Um,
I
we can want to open the floor or no?
No, I think that everybody, everybody, to from my understanding, has a niche. They're good in a particular thing, and especially when it has to do in life, whatever trade, whatever, degrees, or whatever they major in, or whatever. People are always good on something. So in traditions, I also see that not everybody is going to be good at every single thing in the tradition. You're going to be good at something, and that one thing you got to polish it, and that one thing you got to be the best that you can in that one thing, in order for you to be able to be the best that you can, because you won't be able to know or do everything like somebody else. Like there's some that there could be another priest that is great, doing what you said, love work. Like you say, you don't deal too much with the work that has to do with the judicial system, very lightly. But
Hmm.
your main thing is what? Health, you know? Like now I don't know how many people do health work, but I know a lot of people that do a lot of negative work, a lot of dopey
No,
work.
yeah, no. Everybody does that. Any priest, those processes are easier to affect because it's not constructing, it's destructing. You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So you know everybody does that. Every
Yeah,
that's easy.
and that's why
Eso
we
es
always say
proceso son fácil.
it's always easier to do the left hand work than the right hand work.
Mhm.
uh, yeah, well, if anybody wants to comment or wants ask a
Yeah, got any
question,
questions? Let's open the floor. Let's
yeah,
see what the questions and topics they got.
now is your time.
You know,
But that's life. That's part of life, So
you got to understand the process. Obviously, to cause havoc, you got to get the process too.
yeah, I
You
what I,
know,
what I really think that people should study whatever they think they want to work with, like be better at. Then you're gonna have to study that process because I don't think that you're gonna be able to study every single thing in the planet Earth to be able to solve for everybody. We
get all
understand
the
that it's just not
probability.
us, it's the probability is like it's too much. We know the Inkishis could do their thing, but without knowing the processes, we lost.
Yeah, like Aziz taught me a lot about the judicial, just the process itself. Inside the room, I'm easy. That's easy for me. Any
Hmm.
process how to affect it inside the room is easy.
Hmm.
No, this all that's the easy part for me. My thing is how to aim that within the process, within the living, how things are unfolding.
Hmm.
You see that? Because the rituals and how you're constructing them in the room is explaining that, which is the process within the living. Or a court problem, oh, this is the court date, this the judge, this the charges, these the things. You're putting that in the room now to
Right.
bend that the favor.
Hmm.
For love work, obviously understand what it is. Well, understand what love is, the different types of love, this, how things are functioning, do they live together, they don't, are their kids involved, all that. That's very, it's a lot of stuff in there. For finances,
Hmm.
understand that there is a system in place. And
Hmm.
this system obviously is a lot more broader now. It's easier ways to make money, but the problem is there's not a lot of knowledge because they don't teach it in school. But this, conversating, networking opens your doors
Hmm.
to, let's say, better possibilities of finding money, but you always have to sell something. If you don't
Hmm.
bring value to the marketplace, obviously you're going to give your time.
Hmm.
You're going to have to give your time for money. But if you give value to the marketplace or bring value to somebody, then obviously they're going to exchange that value
Hmm.
for money. They're going to give you the money in return for whatever value you bring.
Right.
So these are the way these systems are is set up for finances. You got to understand that, and the age and all of that. If you're old, not
Hmm.
old enough, all of this. Another one is a court situation. But let's say like if you want to immigration, you want to deal with immigration, you got to understand that because we
Yeah.
get a lot of that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That process is very hard, and
Yeah.
obviously with priests, I be giving off. In close groups and stuff like that, I give off some of my animistic ideas that I learned from my godfather.
Hmm.
That I see him tell this guy he was illegal here, leave. He told him leave. He left, and he came back. He got his papers legally this way. How he did that? That was I learned that from my godfather.
Hmm.
And I'm not that strong working. What's a residency, a work visa.
Yeah.
You
Green
see,
cards, all that
what's a
stuff.
green card? What's all that? You got to understand
Hmm.
that process and how you apply it to who you apply it. How do you get it? How you receive it?
Hmm.
Everything. You got to get that process down.
Right. And that's crazy. That's I was thinking about a question a while back that I heard somebody ask us right in one of the one of the chats. How will you be able to let's say you have a problem with the water department. They charging you too much money for your bill. They're overcharging you in the water department.
So you just go there and go speak to them. You let them look, you're overcharging me. They go,
No, but they say they're not. They say they're not. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what you're getting paid. They change your meter. The meter is working right. Right? But now they come to you and they want you to do something to help them remedy that problem with the water department. How many people work in the water department? How many departments are in the water department? How many people go, that paperwork runs through or the computer now? There's not one person that sits on the computer and watches that anymore. It's how you gonna do something like that? It's like there's too many things involved
within that
within
process.
that process. So it's hard.
You see, with me, I'd rather say, well, let's go ahead and boost your finances better than go ahead and work that process,
Exactly.
negotiate it. You see what I'm trying to explain? Because there's ways.
Go with another company, a light company or something. Change
No, but that
people.
is that is true. If they overcharge you for a period of time, I think it was the light. I don't remember what it was. I think it was water light. It was the light bill. They overcharged, and then they ended up finding that they overcharged. 6 months, didn't have to pay light bill for six
That's good.
months.
That's good. Shit, over here they don't even read your meters no more. That's all Wi-Fi.
So these things do happen. These things do happen. You see, the good brings the bad brings the good. So
Right.
you really have to understand that he got back pay. That's what we call it, back pay. These things, within the processes as priests, we got to get it down. You know, it's just for people to understand what's truly happening,
Right.
to see it from a priest perspective. Which this is, I don't think I went that in depth with it through the eyes of a priest, to see the things that we have to deal with. They'd be like, man, I need to understand this and that and this. So when the client's there, you're doing the readings for them, and they have this problem. Sometimes they tell you the problem even beforehand. Look, man, this is my issue,
Mm-hmm.
and you already sitting there like, okay, these are advice I got for the living, his decisions. But now, how with my infumbe, my kisses, I can yield that process to his favor.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really have strong animistic ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He said, can you be a yaya and not have godchildren? Yeah. You can be a yaya and you can be a yaya in ganga. Have an actual in kisi.
Mm-hmm.
And not have no godchildren. Say, I don't want no god kids. You don't have to do that. These things are for you. You can be a
Exactly.
hell of a yaya too, doing medicine for yourself or your family to bend processes in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but these things, you have to sit down and look at because that's what I do. Like animistic ideas. Somebody shoot out a problem, something, a situation, and I can build an animistic idea from here. Obviously, all this stuff needs to be divine, but I can just do it. It's easy. I have too many cards up my sleeve already.
Well, that question is out there. If somebody want to make up a scenario.
It's too easy. Those situations are too easy for me. And as a priest, but all this must be divined. Because if you do the ritual, it must be precise. And who might tell you, no, take that off, or yes, or no, I don't accept the animistic idea. If you do that, you're changing this. And
Yeah.
that's why the divination aspect is heavily.
Well, I'm not doing. Well,
Um,
I'm not doing that. It's just simple as that. The Kisi might say I'm not doing that. Like, no.
yeah, or I'm not doing it, or I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of like you see, Fa and La Ocha have a little bit different because they have their bosses, they're
Mm-hmm.
both based on Odun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's the way it should be. You have to if you're doing it both just for the hell of it, no, no, no. You gotta do it both based on Odun, man.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least know what you're doing. You got to
Right.
see the issue and then base it off that Odun, the Patakis or whatever came out through there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, within ours, we base it on the process and the divination that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Let's say I don't know, somebody with what issue you guys want to talk? Finances, love, what do you guys think is one of them? Because I'm gonna try to go from the least things to the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
You
I'm
see, from
waiting.
the
I
least,
don't think anybody got have
then
anything else
yeah, no sé
in
cuál
their
es.
mind.
Don't worry, we don't bite. We don't bite up here.
Yeah.
He says listening to you both ease in a sense of trust. All righty, Vanessa. A green card, for example. Funga, eso está fuerte.
That's a hard one right there.
Yeah, green card situation. Now we have to understand, you see, what process when the green card are you at? This is a court situation. I'm weak at this thing. You see, you have to understand that for me, I gotta make sure that the Mfumbe agrees to it. You see, as long you gotta do divination, he agrees. And what so are you gonna have you had it already or you haven't got it? Like are you gonna renew it? You see, that's you have to understand the process, if it's the first time or if it's not. Let's say that if they did, let's say that they're renewing it now for like 5 years or something like that.
Hmm.
Their green card. There's different ways to get out of the green card, right? Find a woman for you to marry you, and you get your papers like that. Or you have a girl you've been speaking to, yeah, but we just started dating. Hey, heavily affect her, so she can fall in love with you. You ask her to marry you, you get married. Boom, forget the green card. Now you're getting actual papers. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I would like to get one the first time. So you see, you got to see where you gonna apply that. Back in the day, things were physical. You went to those places and you did that. Maybe now it's all electronic. So for me to understand, I have to affect you and your Dikenga personally. The type of medicine that I would do for that is animistic ideas, right? To put you within Tukula, but I will head into a forest. But I have to divine for that. You see, because that's a very particular, it's a specific effect. See, if it's finances, I just want finances, boom, my finances. I can go from nothing to something. You see, from nothing, little affect the whole way, which I'm gonna do with finances in a second. But to get a green card is how are you gonna apply it? Do you understand who's gonna approve it? You see, we don't, if you don't have those names, those people to pinpoint that process, it's a little bit harder. So I would ask them, Fumi, want me to head into the forest to cause major change in his favor towards this. And obviously give the animals and all that stuff there. Because that process is very is somewhat not fully there. Like I don't you don't have a lot of control over who's doing what, who's approving, who's not approving. You have to
Exactly.
submit it to the embassy. So you have to submit things and who the heck who's gonna approve this? You see,
Hmm.
they look at your background, all of this for those papers and all that stuff to go in your
Yep.
favor. So for me,
Yep.
I would head to strong change. I would divine for that. Then Fume agrees, I would do it. And then look at the process that we're in within the green card. You know, the stuff that's going on within politics now that, they're halting this situation. They halt all this situation now. They're trying to get everybody up out of here,
Yep.
which that's a freaking problem. You see, so now imagine them giving green cards for it. So you see, that situation is somewhat it's hard because with the natural order of things, the government itself is limiting the crap out of that game green card. You see, my favorite would be: do you know anybody within the states? If you're already in the states, do you know anybody with the states that have paper and you're dating? You see that? If they
Hmm.
do, you see, if they do know that, my sister's here, she was born here, or I'm here, I know somebody, or look, we get together because most of the time you'll be Hispanic, so you go to barbecues, find a woman that you meet or a girlfriend that does. It depends on the circumstance. Now, if you got a woman back in wherever you're coming from, that's a situation, that's a problem. It's un problema, bro. But let's say you're single. You see, if you're single, you see, now we can work this marriage out for you to get your papers in a better way. Um, but let's say finances. So we can work finances because this one is very broad, a lot of control over it. It's not as particular as a green card. It's very precise. And the medicine must be as precise as that. But finances, you can choose to make it broad or you can choose to be just a little bit. Boom your finances. We're gonna start outside the room. You see that? We're gonna start outside the room.
Hmm.
Just sitting down with the patient. Let's say Barbara's talking about, let's say finances, because Barbara's my goddaughter. Let's say that finance, we're gonna affect Barbara's finances. See, outside the room within the living, I'm gonna say, well, what's your income and what's your expenses? If you deplete down your expenses, your income, obviously you can start saving, you can start paying debt and all of that. So now we're saying that your decisions have to abide by it. This is just within the living realm, their decisions. Start to be conscious of what you're spending and how you're spending and why. So you can
Mhm.
boom your finances within your decisions outside the Nsokongo. No Mfumbas, no Nkisis being involved. Now, let's say you're obviously an adult, so you have a profession. Let's say you work for Amazon. You see that? So within the living realm, you are in earned income. You're not in passive. You're in earned income. You get paid based on your hourly rate. If you want that to boom up, oh, I'm getting paid $17 an hour packaging up bags or boxes for Amazon. I want to be in a manager position within that company. See, now we're specializing it. We can do that. Give me the floor leads name. Who's your boss? Who can give you that raise? You see that? But remember, take it inside the room. Give me the guy's information. Let me see what they say.
Co-worker, they want one of the of a co-worker que jode mucho.
You see, if the co-worker hold mucho, you want them to get kicked out of the job, that's easy. Very easy. You make the powders and stuff you need to do, and you're gonna use probably a goat because it has horns to push off the co-worker out of that process, out of the job, go somewhere else. But that's
Mhm.
that's more negative intentions. I'm saying for you to get a raise over your coworker, he experiences you being their boss now. That's a different process, different avenue that you're taking
Mhm.
instead of using the Sokongo, your Nkisi to kick him out.
Yeah, you being the manager.
You
You
see,
know what I
you
mean?
being the manager, and then you physically kick him out. Then, but you got to go through
Exactly.
HR for you to be able to fire somebody as a manager. You see, you got to understand how the companies work. You got to go through HR. So you see, you have to work all the people there, and not just you can't like them. Everybody there cannot like them. You see that? These are the things that I'm referring. You're playing the game in the battlefield. Um, but this is all within the living, right? Within the living still. All these decisions that we're taking. Once we go to the so Congo, um, essay is gonna be very minuscule. I'm gonna say the stuff that I know. You can use the Mfumbe. I'm supposed to be saying this. I'm just gonna say that you use your Mfumbe and ants. You see what I'm saying? You go to a red ant or termites, you put them Fumba in there, 12 o'clock in the day. You got to divine, all of this has to be divined. And you telling that Fumba to bring you prosperity and work the same way the ants are working. You see that? If you have the boss's information, his Facebook pictures and all that stuff, that Fumba and all that, you introduce it in powder and you introduce it into ant mound or the mountain of the ants, the little ant colony. Boom, you put it in there. Next thing you know, your boss is giving you a bunch of overtime, a bunch of things. You see that by that effect to happen a week, 2 weeks from now, and you start getting a bunch of overtime, or he gives you a raise. But with this raise comes responsibility. If you used to have Saturdays and Sundays off, that you didn't have your wife and your kids used to go out with them, now you can't because you got to work to make more money. Now your
Mhm.
your finance, your relationship is going to be affected.
Yep.
So these are the things that I'm referring within the negotiations, but that's very minuscule. You see, oh, we use ants because ants represent work. You see that to bring in that. Let's say for investments, or you're in a place of investments, or you're trying to grab a loan from a business partner. You see that you just need to go out with him because he's your business partner or a business friend that you know as a company or jobs or whatever has franchises the same way, and you ask for change. Hey, yo, give me a quarter. Hey,
Yeah.
you got a couple quarters? And he's like, yeah, I got a quarter. He gives you the quarter out of his pocket. But then you work that person through that quarter because they gave you money. Now every time you go ask for money, they'll give you money. Or they'll give you that loan or help you out open a franchise that they own. These are the things that I'm referring to. You must understand the process. It's very meticulous.
Mhm.
You can simply just go in the kitchen room and ask for more money and turn on a candle. But that ripple is not very precise. It's very general, and it's still gonna have effects. But it's very general. It's not then the same to do the same thing, amp them up with animals and draw a specific theme on how to affect your life within what aspect of your finances. Let's say you have earned income, but you want to go to passive income. You have a business on the side that you're trying to open up. You're gonna explain that to your infumba, and you understand the process of that passive income, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna use it in that favor. Let's say that you're a woman, you work for the hospital at the CNN, but at the same time you want to, let's say, start social media. You got your Inkisi, right? You're a Yaya, or that's the patient. Oh, that's what you do. You want to open up your own social media platform. You want people to like you. Well, let's go ahead and do the powders that are required. Let's go ahead and get get a bunch of followings. Let's go ahead and get, you know, make this powder of feathers de loro. You see that? Parrot feathers and they gansang and these beautiful birds, peacock and all of that, burn them into powder and other things. We make the bilongo with them fuma. You put that on before you get on those lives to attract the attention of the people. You see, and that's your little side hustle outside of your CNN. Next thing you know, you start going viral. You leave CNN and you're doing that full time. But then you got to, if you're working that like that, you have to render a service, a product to the community for you to make money. Like you see, they sell shirts or they sell this, they sell that. And that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's their product.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that I'm referring about. You must understand the processes. A loved one. Oh, look, no guy ever wants to date me. They slide on my Tinder. Nobody likes. Well, we can do the same thing. The love powders, and when it has the fumba involved in all those affairs. So when you go out on a date on girls' night out, or you go on Tinder, you take a picture and you post it as your main screen. They will swipe positively towards you.
That's impossible, though, man. There's no woman on this planet Earth that can't get a man. It's the opposite. It's the man that's
Or the man,
impossible to get.
or the man himself. You see, the man himself. You see, you can pull the attraction. Remember, you can pull the attraction, and
uh,
those processes can begin. But once they start going on dates,
yeah,
you gotta understand the process. Ain't no woman gonna be with you if you don't have no stability, unless you're giving her other. It's an exchange. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta
exactly.
understand the process. What are you gonna bring value to this woman that another man doesn't? So you gotta understand these processes. So you
I'll
see
open.
those things that he's lacking, we're gonna work them.
I'll give you that one real quick.
Open a person's roads who the road has been closed by a hidden enemy. So when you mean a road opener, you're referring to the stages that a person is in. So that means if he's in his 30s, he's living with his mom, he's having all these issues when he's not supposed to be living with his mom at 38 years old. He's supposed to have wife, kids, and all these situations. He got a divorce, all this bad stuff started to happen, problems after problems, knocking him from stages that he's supposed to be in back to he's like 21, 18, 17 years old. So you see, you're trying to take away that negativity, which those are easy. Open somebody's road, rompimiento, do la firma that are required to open them up. If you understand what he works in, his relationship aspect, you see, because that's what people speak about. Road opening is for money. That's what they're referring to. But in reality, it's for a stage, una etapa de la vida.
Yeah.
You see that? Because if he's 16, 17, and you're trying to open roads, you can't get a corporate job. You're 16, you're still in high school. You have to work at McDonald's for the time being or at a Boost Mobile for the time being until you reach 25 years of age or 22 years of age. You graduate high school where you're really in life
Mm-hmm.
because you have to go to school. If you drop out, that's going to affect the process in the long run very negatively unless you go entrepreneurship. But it takes money to make money. It's part of these processes. The Infuma is used in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But open roads is to jump out of stages. So you're stuck in this one stage and you can't move, you can't move, you can't move. Um, and it all depends what that priest and yourself is pinpointing, referring to road opening. Opening what road?
Yeah.
Down what avenue are we talking about here? Your
Right.
finances, your
Right.
marriage?
Right.
Because you might have a good job, but you had a divorce and you weren't able ever again to have another woman and start another family. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. That's what you want me to open your roads for. He's like, yeah, that's what I need. I said, all right, we're gonna work. What's the circumstance? The patient's telling you these things, you're divining, you're seeing, the Mfumba's giving you guarantees saying, yeah, look, we can help in this process. And then you do the medicine. Look, when you have the days off, 2 days off out of the week or a day off out of the week in a weekend, Go out, speak to a woman, go on Tinder, do what you have to do with the process to pull in that woman. So then hopefully, you avoid the red flags. Come back for divination. This the woman that I should invest my time in? Yes. There you go. These are the things that I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to understand the processes. And everybody's going to be different. Every circumstance is different. That's why every female will be different. Every ritual is going to be different. It's
Different.
not
Yeah.
cookie cutter. This stuff
It's
is not
not.
cookie cutter at all. It's very specific
Mm-hmm.
to bring things back to balance.
Yep. That's the problem. You spoke about that ant mile. You can see everybody running to the ant mile, going, "Where's the ant mile? Where's the termites? Let me get like it's
Y-
you know."
Yeah, but then can there be negative effects with that?
Of course they can. That's why they gotta watch it.
They have to divine. You have to divine. You see that? If that informer tells you, do not do that, don't do that. You're like, oh no, Matamba said to do this. You went and did on the ant mound, you got more work, and then your wife divorced you. You see what I'm saying? Or when you were going to work, you caught a car accident, going on overtime. This is the stuff that I'm referring to on the negotiations
Exactly.
because there's probabilities and
And
you
that's
have to
what
make sure what you're doing.
and that's what we all need to get clear. That everything that we do, it has a turnaround. And you gotta watch it. You understand? You gotta be very careful. Very careful. There's ways to shadow, there's ways to kind of esquivar, like bob and weave certain things and all that, but you gotta be careful with this stuff. This ain't no joke.
Especially if the codes are rigid, which me and Andy, his code obviously was very rigid. My code was rigid as hell as you too.
Forget
Those
about
when
it.
the Fuma cast, this is a lot of knowledge. Other conversation we have, but you will know as a priestess, the Fuma's telling you, look, you can't avoid the situation. You're forced to live it.
Mm-hmm.
You're forced to live the situation. No matter what you do, you can aplacar a little bit, but you're forced to live the situation, this process.
Yep.
Because it's necessary. You
Yep.
can't have the good without the bad. Once you overcome this, you gain the experience and you'll be in another stage, but you have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a surgery or like different processes.
Mm-hmm.
Your boss is gonna sell, let's say, his business. You see,
Mm-hmm.
what can you do about that? The
Mm-hmm.
boss sells the business, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
It's already sold. Now you
Right.
have to work against that process. Be like, well, I need to move somewhere out. I need to go get another job. I need to work on myself to jump that
Mm-hmm.
process. I can't
Exactly.
stop that. That's already sold.
Yeah.
That company is sold or is bankrupt already, whatever the situation is. I
Mm-hmm.
can't undo that. You see what I'm saying? Like I had a good priest, a good friend. It was a good friend. He's a good priest too. He told me, he said, look, my Nkuyo told me that he couldn't affect change because he didn't want nobody to buy the lot on the side of his house or in the back of his house or something like that. They start cutting it down already. And he went to his Nkuyo said, I can't have effects on that. I can't stop him. Obviously, the process is already going. For you to have those effects to stop somebody from cutting the back of your house, the woods that they bought that acre, is nearly impossible
Mm-hmm.
because it already started. It's better for you to move somewhere else than to have that because you got to cause chaos there.
Mm-hmm.
You see that for them, for the guys who got paid to cut all those woods off, so then the person who bought the lot to put the house in it is gonna go and live there or
you
open
got
whatever they're
you,
gonna do.
you gotta go out there with a juice jar full of bilongo and hey, it's refreshing. Here, take a drink.
No, the process is too late. Things are already on a ravel. That's
Yeah,
what I'm referring.
even if we get rid of those, it's still
But that Nkuyu, you see, that's what I'm saying. That Nkuyu's on point, man. They told him it's too late on
yeah,
the
it's almost
process.
too late.
I can't affect it. And these are the things that I'm referring to. That certain times you do the Fuma tells you, yeah, I can make that happen. Or other time it tells you, no, I can't make that happen. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to know that's what I'm saying. Divination is the most important part
Mm-hmm.
of any ritual, of anything, anything. You have to know what's being negotiated,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think that people like also to be told that they're getting thrown spiritual warfare. I love that. People all the time say, "Muerto curo,
Yeah.
muerto curo, me dejó los caminos."
Somebody doing juju to me.
Somebody doing juju and
Yeah.
all this, and most of the time they don't think that it's their decisions. Their
Yep.
decisions is what got them in those circumstances, those predicaments.
Predicaments. Yep.
And you go in divine, there's no infumba, no negative infumba in there. They
Hmm.
might have like negative intentions by somebody, but no true spirits on them.
Right. Just
Then
some
you have others
vibration.
of it. Sometimes it is true. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a I can do the winter cool on top of you, man. But you see that those changes are very drastic. But it's just problem after problem after problem after problem after problem after problem, situation, problem after problem after problem, and that's a
Yep.
whole different other ball game. But another thing is that in the stage that we're at, and the decisions you make, things cap out. You see, if you start working at Amazon, are you going to be um, the owner of Amazon? Are you going to be him in 30, 60 years? No.
Hmm.
There's caps. There's situations where you have to jump, outgrow, understand these processes.
That was a good one. That's a good one. He didn't ask a question, but he just said 9 times
Not
out of 10 might be your bad mistakes.
so that's another
Yeah.
conversation that I speak all the time with
Hmm.
many priests, and I even apply it to myself. If you do medicine, not like 90% of it is the priest's fault, not understanding divination, not understanding the concepts, and not understanding what was being negotiated. The other 10%, you can throw that as on the patient. Very rarely that ever happens because people follow things to a T.
Hmm.
They do. And oh, well, the other 5% is that. The other 5% you can say is the Fumba. The Nkisi is not built correctly. Um, so these are the circumstances. 90% is the priest and his knowledge. 5% is his Nkisi is not built correctly where it needs to be done, and the other five is the patient himself.
Hmm.
Um, but majority of the time is the priest not knowing, not getting well grounded, defining foundation within the medicine and understanding how things are functioning.
Hmm.
And that's something very big within all of our traditions. They go and get their babalao. They just got done with their ceremony. 2 days later, trying to do a bull tablero. They trying to do everything. 2 weeks later, no, buddy, you just got initiated into this. You don't even know what oragum is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're calling themselves babalaos. It's not like that. Same thing with Impalo. You just got your Inkisi today. And then 4 days later, you trying to cause havoc on people and affect processes. And you
That's a
have
good.
no experience in the room.
There's a good segue to change the processes to something. I have a
I have a
question.
question. If the
Is the
Mfumba infused with the energy of the Mpungu, you see, this a good
yeah, I
question,
like
right?
that one. I like that one because people who got some stories. I don't know.
Exactly. Congo el mundo. The Mfumba is infused with the force of nature. For example, like for Centella, hurricane happens, we encapsulate, introduce it into the Mfumbe. That's what makes that Mfumbe Centella. Or a tornado, or a dust devil, etc., or the storms, whatever. You introduce it there. Sandstorms, introduce it into the parcel. That's what converts that Mfumba with the female, obviously, into Centella. My Centella, Mangasaya, is not the same as everybody else's.
Hmm.
My Sasi, the day that I have it, right, it's not going to be the same. My Saravanda is not the same as Andy Saravanda. The
Hmm.
same force of nature, but not the same in Fumbe. Who's truly doing the work? The Fumbe. How those processes go into and all the ritual, we can't speak those things. Those are the secrets of each lineage and all that. But
Hmm.
that's essentially what's happening. They're
Hmm.
just, they're truly Mfumbes that are Nganga, masters of a
Hmm.
specific force of nature.
Hmm.
That's why you're saying Nganga, yeah, he's a specialist, a master. That,
Hmm.
ha. They say, Matamba, where you located? As of now, I'm in Tennessee, but soon I'll be moving. But these things, you, when you construct a parcel or fundamento, that's what makes it different than working bare bones. You can still
Hmm.
work bare bones or speak to your ancestors that have effects. It still works. You're still dealing with the dead. You
Hmm.
can go speak to your grandfather, your mother, or your father, or whoever that you had a good relationship with, and ask for help. You see, and they can help you, but they don't have that oomph, all that energy. You see, it's like a little kindergartner to go cause construct a building. Then having an actual Nkishi. That Mfumba is like Mike Tyson gonna with the knowledge of a constructor or somebody who works in that field to go build a building. That's the
My
difference.
fault.
So it says, so now, with that being said, this the Mfumba is given a name and a camino. The Mfumba is given a name. He has the name within the living. If you don't have that, it can be given a nickname. Like many people know me as Matamba. That name was given to me. Other people know me by other name, like David. My
Mm-hmm.
middle name is David. You see that? Not a lot of people know that. But somebody calls me or says that, and I can look at them. My name is also Papa. I look at them when they say Papa. So the Mfumbe, if you don't know the name, and let's say you're not up to in your spirituality, to truly understand what's his name, they can give it a nickname. There's a process to that. And if he accepts it, then a camino, that camino, every house is gonna do things different. Everybody's gonna do their own thing. But it can be based on la FEMA and the binary codes and especially the force of nature. Ese camino can limit that Mfumbe, or not the Mfumbe itself, not just the Mfumbe, the Nkisi. You see that profession of what he is. It limits, and that's what they're saying. Oh, este Nkisi has these amounts of caminos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the force of nature that got him put in there and the binary codes with the FEMA has given him a certain amount of authority if he's full-fledged or not. It's not the same thing to be built a centella with the forces of the wind than to be built with a tornado than to be built with a
Hurricane.
yeah, or a dust devil or a
Uh,
sandstorm. It can have them all in there now. But the FEMA at the end of the day truly was gonna give him that and the treaty that's being made. But this is more in relationship with it. Um, which we can speak these things through here to a certain extent. I don't know, man. I don't know if I should. It says, let's say after Amaleko little bit. Say like after Hayamito getting scratched, we're given a name. Yes. Yeah, after
mm-hmm.
Hayamito, most of the time it's 21 days after, and they give you a name. Every house does their own things. I'm gonna keep it saying this through here. Paulo is not cookie cutter. AZ comes to my house and he is a nobody. He is a guest in that house. He's given his respect, but he's nobody in my house. The same way I went to AZ's house and I am nobody there. I don't participate or I can't tell you what to do and what not to do. That's his lineage, his lineage, his customs and his traditional way of doing things. Yeah, he's practicing Palo the same way I am, or in Kisimalonga, but it's his own house. So all these other priests from other lineages, things are not cookie cutter. There are certain concepts, certain things that are the same, but they have their own taste to them at the end of the day. You
Mm-hmm.
get me? And we have to respect that. It is not cookie cutter. Maybe you might get an issue, you get a name 2 days later. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be based also on circumstance.
Exactly.
Now, the thing is, you got to really start questioning what does the name mean and what's the point of the name and all of that stuff. It's the name of your spirit or the name of how we should be recognized within the sword of the spirit. Spirit, I'm pretty sure you said sword of the realm of Palo. Yeah, the name has meaning. This is their name has meaning. And the Mfumbas need to agree to that. The Mfumbas are the ones who give the name off. And that's the meaning that they give to you. And it's supposed to carry Linai. At
Mm-hmm.
least all of our names carry Linai to let you know what lineage you're from also.
Yeah, but see, the problem is if we're gonna keep on going into that, they gotta understand that the name, there are multiple names, right? Priests have names in their priestly realms. Some houses give names to engayos also, to yayas, and these are
Mhm.
names. They are verified with the Nkisi. You understand? And a lot of times these names, well, most of the time they have meaning. It's just like back in the days when parents gave their children names according to their circumstances, how they lived, when that child came, how did it come about, what they were going through. Names have meanings. You understand? So the same way, they had meaning. The names had meaning back then, the same way in Palo, our names have meaning. Our names as Tatas or Yayas, right? Or Ngayos. Let's say Ngayo has a name too, okay? Now, when you're speaking about names of an Nganga, there are names given to the Nganga, right? Sometimes you hear Tatas or Yayas talking to an Nganga and calling out a certain name, saying a name. Those are names that are given almost like substitute names. Why? Because nobody should know the name of your Nganga. And when I mean Nganga, you're in Fumbe. Nobody but yourself. So we give out names to the Nganga, and they recognize this name, and everybody else that hears this name could say the name, and then Nganga recognizes the name, but is that truly his name or her name? It's not, because these are secrets. These are things that we do not share with anyone else. Just like if you have an ancestor or my mother, I'm not going to tell you my mother's full name, not even her first name through here, because she's
Hmm.
passed on, and that's my mom, and she's already on the other side. You understand? So the same, I will give you a nickname for her, Cat Eyes. They used to call her Cat Eyes. She had green eyes. They used to call her Cat Eyes. That's the only thing I can tell you. Everybody else that knows her as Cat Eyes. But her real name was very limited. Who knew her name? Full name. You understand? So we gotta, you know,
It says, I'm Scratch and I translated my name to English for my understanding. And the name fits my certain type of best trade. I do, if that makes sense. The trade that he does. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
which is true. Same thing
yeah,
with my name, as the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah.
You know, it's not so much which other linajes don't do it like that. Other linajes base the name off La Fima. Like we
Mm-hmm,
don't do it like that. Obviously, my name, I don't want to say, let's say, I'm just gonna say at least the front part and then just Tata Matamba. Like we say in Quiten Sila, Briumba Congo, Tata Matamba, y por ahí eso sigue. Cala Vía Bio, y por ahí eso sigue por para allá. Um,
mm-hmm,
that's what I'm referring. You see, that stuff is not in a FEMA.
mm-hmm.
My name does not reflect my FEMA. There's lineages who do that. You know, they might say
Mm-hmm.
Yaya Remolino, Brinca Loma,
Mm-hmm.
Engonda Llena,
Escupe sangre,
Escupe
saca cuento, yeah,
Sangre, Sacacuento,
yeah,
Machete and Belly. You know,
uh-huh,
that's the name. And when you look at the FEMA, is that, which that comes from a specific linaje
right,
or these specific people, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when she says the name, then Fuma's recognizing that person like that. Y esa
exactly,
FEMA too.
and that
Same
FEMA,
thing,
yeah,
wherever I paint my FEMA, and most of the times for the Godfather to have La Firma de Uno and your name, then Fumba recognizes you by that. So anywhere
mm-hmm.
you say that, those Fumbas are there backing it up, and it carries Linaje too.
Lineage, yeah,
You see, it carries lineage.
mm-hmm.
So if I go to AZ's house and I go there, get in front of them and say my name, the Fumbas from where I was born are obviously backing it up. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously my Kisi, then now I'm on a different level, but I'm talking about as an Engayo or as a Tata, just regular Tata, no Kisi. Now once you
Mm-hmm.
become a priest and all that, you have your own Kisi, is different. Things change, you're independent. Um, to a certain extent, depending on the occasion and what were the agreements.
Right, right,
But a priest is a priest, and when you don't have an Kisi at all, no Kisis, you're not independent. You know,
yeah,
you're dependent on your godfather's stuff
yeah.
majority.
And some people even name some elders name the person depending of the person's character. You know, you understand the person's character, how they are in life. You know, like the consistency that this person, kind of throws out, that vibe. Depending of that, they would name you maybe Sarabanda something. You understand?
Hmm.
Cobayende something. And that's nothing wrong with it. It's just that's reflecting the person. They're looking at the force of nature, and they're reflecting that force upon you, because you might be hot headed, you might be a little brutal, you might like to fight, you might be too quick. It all depends. Things have meanings. That's the problem. It's the same thing with the names. Meaning. It means something.
So if they just made something up and gave it to you, that's a different conversation. Like put it inside a hat and pull it out.
Yeah. It has to get
To each his own,
verified.
bro. I'm not gonna
That's
disrespect any lineage. Everybody does their own thing at the end of the day. But
yeah.
the Fumbas themselves, they have name. They have the name within the living realm,
Mm-hmm.
a name that can be given to it if you don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the Inkisi,
Mm-hmm.
and then the name of general. Oh, Insasi. You see the guy. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
este Saravanda. Oh, este this one. This is this one. But they have different. There's like mine, Centella Mangasaya. You see, that's a specific name representing my Kisi. Centella Mangasaya. That's only Tata Matamba's and Kisi's name that. And that's my name that I gave to her, that we speak. Now it has a specific name for that in Kisi. And then the Fumbe has a specific name. Obviously, that I will never say through here. I don't say that
Yeah,
to
of
nobody.
course.
That's not spoken to.
And this question right here from the same person, that's dependent because once that is built, you understand, and is given that name and has made that tratado and has received it, it's like why
Yeah,
you.
like to be able to change the name, that all depends on the ceremonies and the stuff, how well knotted things are. That's very
Mm-hmm.
tough.
Yeah.
Same thing it is to deconstructing in Kishi. That's something very sensible. I do it. It depends if then Kishi agrees. If it's hollowed out, no food bend, no things not built correctly. What I mean is correctly, nothing is hollow. It's just pop, dirt, and sticks.
All right, let me say something to Maurice. Maurice Lopez is. It says your nganga is made for you. Should anyone else be talking to your items? Well, listen, my nganga is mine, right? My wife speaks to my nganga. My sons speak to my nganga. My godson speaks to my nganga. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? You give them the authority.
Well, exactly, license to
Le
do
dio la
that.
licencia. Same thing as
They,
my god kids.
yeah, they
If
don't
I want,
touch it. They don't put their hands in it, but they could speak to it. They salute it. They can ask.
but you had to
So,
give him la licencia. You had to. You see, like if my godson, one of my godsons, let's say Cat, has a situation and he has enough knowledge, and I'm like, go speak to whoever you're gonna speak to. You can speak to Masalamanda. Go there and speak to him. See if he can resolve your problems, divine with him, and do what you have to do. Run the ritual in the room. You know, like, esa licencia, do it. Now you want
uh-huh.
me to do it because you don't have sufficient knowledge to do it. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that we're talking about. Remember, he's using Makinenga. He's using my stuff. Um,
yeah,
we tend not to do it. We tend to,
yeah.
I appreciate you. Very information. Oh, thank you. I will appreciate you for being here, always supporting us
Yeah,
because you've
yeah,
been
of
quite
course.
a few lives with us here.
Yeah.
And and these things, the names are important. There's a lot of stuff in Palo. This stuff. Remember, what's online? Majority of things that back in the day is very above the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we haven't even gotten into, you know, swimming yet. We're still at our kneecaps. What we're speaking about, Paulo, is it to our kneecaps. A little bit
Mm-hmm.
more in depth things, a little bit more just to get things a little bit more well defined. So there's not to help out the community in general. But this thing is deep. This is an ocean. There's too much information, too many things, too many different ways of doing things, different animistic ideas and observations of nature and applying it in medicine. It's too much. It's
It's a
too
lot.
vast. It's forever learning.
Yeah. Yeah. The other day I said people should be watching the Animal Planet because I'm telling you, and
You
they
learn a
laugh,
lot.
but you learn a lot. The birds, all the insects, the animals, the things. I don't know if I heard it from Tata Mateke or who I heard it from, or it was a TV show. I don't remember. And he spoke about the squirrel. When a snake is gonna come and attack a squirrel, what the squirrel does. I don't know if he said it or I saw it somewhere. And I was like, and when I heard it, I was like, because remember the snake doesn't that can't see. It senses with the heat. The squirrel picks up his tail, heat making itself look tall, big. The snake says it's too big for me. Because it's sensing the heat higher, bigger. It's crazy, And you're like,
Yeah,
wait a
like a little
minute.
snake or something like that that's saying, yeah, I can't
I
fight.
can't overdo that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't overdo it.
Because of the
You
sensors,
see?
it's sensing heat, and then the squirrel puts the tail up high. Now it's more heat radiating, and it's like, no, that's something too big for me.
And Mario, you guys be doing this every week. Well, he said, what
No,
about doing it with jobs with it?
I
Yeah,
was
my god kids can do jobs with it. if you give them la licencia. But not every week. We tend to do it once a month or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. You got to give him the authority. When we say licencias, you're giving him or her the authority to do it. You understand? But
You
not
and
just
you're not.
anyone. Now you can't do
Yeah,
that with anyone. If they're not initiated, they're not going in that room. That's it. If you're not initiated, the only way you're going in that room is blindfolded and to get divination or something done. That's
yeah.
it. You're not even
That
going to have
yeah
your eyes open.
yeah that and if they're not initiated within the house, let me make it a little bit more rigid because you know AZ's a good friend of mine, but he's not going inside my room without me being in there. You crazy? Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
Or anybody that's not part of my lineage in my house is not going inside that room without me or somebody that knows what they're doing in there. Esos muertos no reconocen. They don't pick. They don't understand that. Matamba told me I can drive you crazy trying to learn all this. Oh yeah, I can drive you crazy, Chris. But that's when once you're initiated and you start to let's say you start to penetrate within the tradition, especially if you got in Kishi. Y está metido en el cuarto. You're in that room day in and day out, day in and day out. You can go insane. And I've been a victim of that. Um, we all been victims of it. Us, all priests been victims of it. But you gain power. You gain knowledge and power, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't live a normal life. You can't go to work. You can't go to work and have social life and this and that. You
Mm-hmm.
stop being who you are and you end up being Matamba the whole time. And that's not good for a person. So that's why let's preach when we giving kisis and all of that. That's my biggest fear. That I given in kisi to I never given in kisi to a minor. But I've given it in kisi to adults and I always tell them, look, be careful going in there every day, 12 hours a day. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's not good.
Te cruza, te me vuelve
Yeah,
loco. Then
yeah.
I gotta resolve the problem.
Exactly. Congo El Mundo, he says, I was taught after receiving Lucero, I can do some work. Throw chamalongos, give readings. Lucero en Cuyo, Lucero en Ganga. I don't know. So let's say Lucero en Cuyo. If you got the license to do that, I don't know if you're an Engayo or you're a Tata. Some houses do give Luceros, even to Engayos. Some houses do let you read, and work with them. Not all. I very barely hear, elders giving out Luceros to Engayos, but I have seen them.
Holy moly, now I know who we're speaking about. This is Chris. You came here. Yes, I remember now. Yeah, now I know who I'm speaking to. How you doing, Chris? Now I know who it is now. Yes, it can drive you insane.
Yeah,
That
you.
stuff can drive you. You gotta be able to stay grounded.
Yeah, yeah,
For the
you.
Nkuyo for the Nkuyo part, many
Mm-hmm.
blessings to you, Chris. Hopefully you're doing well. You're doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Que lo muertos te bendigan. Hopefully you're doing great. Um, for the Nkuyos, yeah, they give it to Ngayos. We tend not to. We give it to Tatas.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, Andy,
Mm-hmm.
we when in Nkuyo you can do it all. But
Yeah.
initiate and probably exchange your lives. But rompimiento, readings, you can go to spiritual warfare with it. You can do it all with that. You just
Mm-hmm.
can't initiate. You can't initiate people.
Mm-hmm.
Say not a full out Lucero yeah, like a Lucero and Ganga, not that one.
Yeah, Lucero and
But
Cuyo, you could do a lot.
with just that Lucero and Cuyo, you can do it all. That's in reality what you need. That will make you enough independent to
Mm-hmm.
handle all your affairs, negotiate, do read. You can go in a
Mm-hmm.
forest and run rituals, everything that you can do
Everything
under the sun. Everything.
for our understanding.
These are the things that I'm referring to. Um, this it's Paulo's deep. It's a very deep,
Mm-hmm.
deep process, deep tradition to get in. Very serious, very
Mm-hmm.
serious. The main point of life was the processes to understand how
Right.
these processes are.
And it's
You
difficult
know,
to get on here, right? And want to speak about certain, things in Palo, because the simple fact is that there's too many there's things that we can't say. You understand? We can't teach you. We can't tell you that, it goes against the treaties that we have, the juramentos that we have. So, it's kind. I noticed that a lot of people, right, when they go into Palo, like right now, we got a couple of people here. They in here. They're listening to us. Not too many people will come into these lives for the simple fact is that we're not giving out secrets. We can't do that. You understand? Um, it's just a fact. I mean, if you find someone giving out secrets, then that's great with them. But it's very hard for you to really somebody that has something, and know what they're doing. They're not gonna give it to you. Nobody's gonna speak through here the big things of Palo. Nobody. I mean, it's retarded. You can't. You know what? I had somebody tell me that he was a Tata. He used to give his godchildren encuyos, right? With no licencia to divine. It was just for them. Protection, health, stuff like that, road opening, keep it there, take care of it every week, give it a servicio, whatever. And one of his godsons started divining and taking on clientele. From that day forward, when he heard it, he stopped giving the engayos luceros.
That's what I'm saying. As in Kuya, they can do it all. He probably built it fully. You know what I'm saying? He built
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
fully. He said, just don't do this. And I got to listen. He just started doing what he wanted.
yeah.
It happens. Everybody goes through those stages. Everybody go through those stages. They do. You know. But it's not just that. Paulo, I want to add to that. Paulo, just like Andy said, 100%, there's stages. I like to see, like we joke around. We like, are you practicing Santa Claus Paulo? For us, it's in the lower levels of understanding of the tradition. We joke around with each other. Hey, you're gonna practice a lower level of understanding because once you surpass that level, then you truly understand that. You see, let's say Lo Briumba con Mayombe are not the same than Briumba Mulemba. Los Briyumba Tronco Sabers are not the same as los Briyumba Mulemba. O los Briyumba con Mayombe, o los Brahma con Brahma, o los Mayombe vuelta abajo, o los
Mhm,
Quimbiza Santo Cristo en viaje, los
mhm,
Changaní, la Rama
mhm,
Chamalonga. It is not the same. Same concepts within all the tradition. We're all doing
mhm,
somewhat the same thing, but there is very specific treaties to them, and that's what I'm referring to. That is the beauty. Once you jump out of that Santa Claus level, and you network with other priests, and they give you the honor to witness an initiation ritual from that lineage, you'll be like, man, look, it's different. Look, I learned this, there, this. Obviously, you're not going to take it to your traditional way of doing things, but you respect it.
mhm.
You're like, damn, look at that. I didn't see that. I didn't see this.
Right.
Other times you might see little loose ends in the medicine, or you're like, yeah, I don't know why they did it, but hey, that's not my problem. Why they do that, I don't know. But you get to see so much of it that it's not the same. You see that it is not the same, and you understand that you as being inside of that house, it's not cookie cutter.
Mhm,
It is. I'm gonna say it again. It is not cookie cutter. They gave me the honor to witness this ritual. I don't judge. I just look.
mhm,
There's a fumba in there because you can feel it in the room. You're like, yeah, there's definitely a fumbas in here. So they're doing things. They're making treaties with the dead just in different ways. And certain times they're even better than the way we do them. More
mhm,
simpler medicine, more simple, and you learn. You're like, oh man, I can use that in a different way.
mhm,
Especially constructing in key and this and that, but that doesn't come. They're not gonna just speak that to you. It's a
mhm,
give and take. It's a networking, and you build these nice relationships with other priests.
mhm,
Y ahí está el dicho, una mano lava la otra, los dos se lavan la cara. One hand washes the other, and they both wash the face. But in the sense of we are all
mhm,
learning from one another, but we're still keeping the tradition alive of the lineage that we're within.
mhm.
You know,
And that's what makes
there's
it rich, because
that's what
it's
makes it
not the
very
same.
rich.
All of us don't do everything the same. You understand? All of us don't
And
do
there's
everything the same, so it
but
makes
there
it rich.
but there's levels.
Yep,
You see
it
what I'm
is
saying? There's
levels.
levels to it. There's Santa Claus level, and you have let's say a specialist level or a master's level, and then you got the grandmasters,
Mhm,
the true ones who have experienced this from the 1960s,
mhm,
and they're 80 years old saying, Papa, I've seen all this evolve over a
mhm,
period of time. People who have like 25, 30, 40 years into Palo,
mhm,
that they go on YouTube and they see us and they're like, I would have never in my life seen this back in the day. 'Cause obviously, this didn't exist.
Yeah, they don't
So
even
look how
agree with
things
it.
have evolved. They
Yeah.
might, yeah, many of them would not agree with it,
Mm-hmm.
but how things have evolved over a
Mm-hmm.
period of time, and we're only here for a short period of time anyway.
Yep.
Um, but imagine that being a grandmaster, seeing Paulo being, I say played, but it's not played. They say jugando Paulo, but it's not like that. Let's say practicing Paulo at a certain time, and 40 years later, have how things have evolved.
Yeah.
And I feel like I got the best. I won the lottery with my godparents where I was born and all of that within the tradition. But I'm gonna say it again: the Paulo that I practice is well defined to its time, is well built to its time. I don't practice the Paulo from the slave trade. My Ankisis are not built like the slave trade in the sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're 100 times better. Why do
Mm-hmm.
I say that? Because in the slave trade, those slaves didn't have no cars. So how are you supposed to help a person get a loan for a car or sell a car or get in a car accident or avoid a car accident when those in Kisi and that form of building or the bilongo that it holds inside of it don't carry that information and that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So things must evolve. And
Has
it
to.
has evolved. And it has evolved, not just within the living, but within the dead. These Nkisis have obviously been evolving. And the
Mm-hmm.
medicine's getting more stronger, more well defined.
More experience, more experience, more experience, more experience.
These Infumas are gaining more experience and more experience and more experience. That I've always said, I've heard this, experience this too. Oye, busca la chimosa. Oye, ve a ver la bata blanca.
Mm-hmm.
You see, hey, the technology, a cell phone. Oh, go to the doctor. Bata Blanca's white gowns. Go see the white gowns. These Infumbas that are speaking in those in that tongue or with those ideas transmitted like that, it's because obviously they didn't understand what a doctor was. They only understand that a doctor wears a white gown. That's why they call it a white gown.
Mm-hmm.
As things evolve, now the Mfumba says, yeah, it's the cell phone. Yes, it is a doctor. Because
Mm-hmm.
it starts to understand the process that is in. So the Mfumba that you have, if he's really old, he needs to catch up because the processes that were happening back then are not the processes that are happening now. We're not in the slave trade no more, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there's no horses and you don't have to war like that no more. Now war is a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
Things have evolved, and that Mfumba is
Mm-hmm.
in there must be up to date with the time. Si no está
Exactly.
viendo fuera fácil. And the
Yeah.
medicine's not gonna hit. The medicine's not gonna
Yeah.
hit.
Living out of phase.
So we truly have to understand things, and we're not talking about make things more complicated. No, the medicine's still simple. We're talking about information,
Mm-hmm.
consciousness, how that Mfumba understands and of what's going on.
Yep.
And things keep evolving. If I start to speak things through here, you're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And you're like, for real? I'm like, yeah. I'm not saying, grab things, put in your keys. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to explain that. I'm just saying things have evolved in a better way for the tradition, for the practice, which I haven't just seen in my lineage and other lineages also. So when did these things truly start to get, um, let's say, involved within the tradition? Like in our house, in our lineage, we have 4-1 ritual. You see that? Other lineages carry it. Other lineages don't carry 4-1 rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that one has it and this one don't? And what is the pros and cons of having it and not having it?
Mm-hmm.
Why does this lineage put these things in these Nkishis for the Mfumba and this one doesn't? What are the pros and cons of having that and not having it? These are the things that we're referring to inside the Nkuyu. We were talking about the Nkuyu. What they introduce in there, not just the spirit and the ritual that they do and Afima and all of that stuff, the Bilongo and the things that go in there. Why and what purpose for that? Why does
Mm-hmm.
this other priest do it differently?
Mm-hmm.
Or these other linajes do things differently?
Mm-hmm.
Not just based on tradition, but on the knowledge of the Mfumbe, of the technology that is having.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because one time I was on a live with a well-known priest. I'm gonna say it through here, right? I was on live on David's live, and we put him on the hot seat, or I think I put him on the hot seat. I had asked him, "Do you put Ogun tools in your Inkisi?" I told him that. And, that was the hot seat because obviously you see many people deconstruct pots, and it has Ogun's tools. Why I have deconstructed pots? They didn't have no tools in it. They didn't have nothing. It was dirt and polish, which is fine. Well, the most fundamental thing is the spirit. If you don't have that, you don't have nothing. But if you use the goon tools or any tools inside the Inkisi, not for literal, the Inkisi's grabbing this tool for it. It's an animistic idea for that Infuma to be able to nail things, has a little ladder to climb. Animistic ideas to create that.
Mm-hmm.
Binary code, Tia Yeko Tika. Oh, it represents falling from a ladder. The Infuma
Mm-hmm.
understand what a ladder is
Mm-hmm.
because it has it in the pot,
Mm-hmm.
or a bow and arrow, or this and that. So, there's people who start to question the tradition and how things are being built, and they say, no, 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 but we got to go to the concept. So if David put Ogun tools in his pots, that don't mean nothing. I understand exactly what he's doing. He's truly
Mm-hmm.
empapando muerto ese,
Right.
that spirit, with the tools to cause effects within the realm. One
Yeah.
that is just bare bones and don't have no tools, the one who has the tools has the advantage. The one who has the gun in there has the advantage to create scenarios in the future. The one who has medicine, many people, because if they go read these books, they go read the books and they literally follow to a T how to build a salamanda or a centella. 9 dirts from 9 different graves, 9 coins, 9 this, 9 that, 9 cats, and 9 this. That's what they get from a book.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, that's not the essence of the tradition. You see what I'm saying? It is the animistic ideas of the. I'm gonna say it again. I said it in the other lives before my lives. It's
Mm-hmm.
the parcel, the fumbe, the fima, force of nature that he gets drenched with, and belongo. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not a miracle. It's not crazy. It's very logical and understanding, and it holds power. So they're charging 30 grand for Inkisis, and you don't even have tools for that in Fumbe.
Mm-hmm.
They 30 grams for the Inkishi, and you don't even have medicine. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have elements like gold, silver, all these things. You don't have nothing, not even a Fumbe in there. It was just dirt, a big
Sticks.
pot, and a stick. Ahí te tumbaron el dinero, they tumbaron el dinero, which is fine. But the
Mm-hmm.
two treaties of those linajes on how to convert that Mfumbe and empower him, or
Mm-hmm.
how to really build that pot,
Mm-hmm.
that's up to each linaje. Everybody's going to do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to do their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I don't knock no priest. When people tell me, "Oh, is my Nkisi built correctly? Let's speak this, and then if you want to end it, we can end it."
Yeah, we will.
But at least at this topic, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
when people come to me and they ask me, "No, I got this pot. I received it." I don't. And he can give his experience. I
Mm-hmm.
don't tell him throw that thing away. It's built incorrectly. I don't go and divine in my thing over the phone. No, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. First, I'm asking you got a fumba in there. That's the first thing I'm asking. You got a spirit in there. Yeah, I'm like, well, we got to see if there is actual spirit. You got the residue of it, but let's see. You got to put it in front of you in Kisses and divine. If there is, then you have to ask that in Fumba if it's built correctly, if he wants to get deconstructed, rebuilt, and according to the treaties. If things are well done, that Infuma is going to tell you, no, I'm not changing my Linaje for nothing. And if I
Mm-hmm.
do, this person's going to have havoc. My Infuma who allowing you to do this to me.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's just that logical.
Yeah.
I've only come across one Inquisi built incorrectly. Like it was one people. Before that, I have never come across Inquisis that were built incorrectly. Never, 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 never. All the
Mm-hmm.
other priests, all the other situations, everybody's stuff. Yeah, there's some Fumba, there's this, there's that. They don't budge. They don't do it. Those people know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
It doesn't have to look like yours.
They don't have to look like mine. Small, big, middle, this. What is built correctly is that do you have a spirit there? Now, obviously, the Bilongo and the treaties that it has, it's a different conversation. That is a secret for each lineage
Mm-hmm.
and its own. and its
Right.
members. Me and Andy, we're within a specific lineage. I'm gonna say it again. I am nobody within los Briumba con Mayombe. I am nobody within Brahma con Brahma. I am nobody within Mayombe. I am nobody within Changani. I am nobody within these other linajes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say nothing for those linajes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want nothing to do with those linajes in the sense of building pots and receiving things. I build the stuff for my linage,
Mm-hmm.
for my Godfather, the way he taught me, the way I do things.
That's it.
So these are the things that I'm referring to. Oh, is it built correctly? Everybody has to have a spirit in there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that. How to do it, what to do, the treat. I can't get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But every priest knows that. Oh, aquí tiene que haber un espíritu.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituality. Let's say that. There needs to be spirituality in this
Spirituality.
stuff. If there's
Mm-hmm.
not that, it's built incorrectly. If there is that, it's built correctly to
Yep.
those linajes, not to mine.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta have respect with each other at the end of the day,
Exactly.
and that's the truth.
I wanna
That's the truth of it.
answer that question real quick for Congo El Mundo. Yes, you can, Congo El Mundo. Remember, we do with ancestors. And if your ancestor wants to make a treaty with you, you can't use your ancestor. Now, what I defer in is forcing, tricking, slavery, that sort. I don't deal with that. But if it's truly an ancestor that you want to use and you truly divine for it and you truly make a tratado with it and it truly wants to work with you, it's fine. There's no problem with that. Everybody else, they have their own opinion. But I wouldn't use an ancestor that doesn't want to be there. You understand?
We can. So,
I'll
so
give it
he's
to
saying
you.
to you.
I'll
So
give
he's
it to
saying
you.
to
I'll give it to you right there.
question. I seen the other videos and the Bakum will use their ancestors as infumbas, right? Can that be done again? Yeah, for sure that can be done. Just like Andy said, Tata Zongo said, do not use at least the way we do things from our lineage. You see, it's not cookie cutter. You can go to other linajes and they say, no, 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 no. We enslave. Se ha muerto, haz lo que tú digas.
Mm-hmm.
Their way of affecting processes and running rituals is obviously different than mine, so you have to study from them. I can't tell you how to run a food that is enslaved there. I don't. That's eso era pepa cojón. So you see,
Yeah.
these treaties will depend on the rituals and
Mm-hmm.
the way that you treat these infumas. I would recommend use all people are ancestors.
Mm-hmm. All
We're
people.
all ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
The bloodline, you say, oh no, this is my father, this is my great grandfather, and he's my ancestors. No, 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 no. We have that understanding because we live in a different type of society within the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were in Africa and we were a tribe, we were born into a family. This whole tribe is our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody here was the same. We were all pygmies
Mm-hmm.
against whatever other tribe, against this other. And there, all those, any Infuma you use or any ancestor that you venerate is your ancestor, any person within that tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So if we come to be honest, Martin Luther King Jr., he's not my blood ancestor, but he has affected me as my ancestor. He
Mm-hmm.
fought for um, human
Liberation, freedom,
rights, right?
human rights.
Human rights. And I have lived that.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, all they're not my blood ancestors, but their decisions as ancestors have affected me. Do you see? Those are different levels that I'm speaking about.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus level, there's a certain aspect. Once you start to rise, you start to see that we're all just truly ancestors in the circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And the best improvement for you to use, in my opinion, is not enslavement, but mutual symbiotic relationship where you both are winning, empowering each other with respect and boundaries. If it's your grandfather, great.
Mm-hmm.
If it's somebody you don't know, that's great also. If it's a best friend, great also. If it's a next door neighbor, also great. If it's whatever, whoever the Mfumba is, the spirit is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, is that they must agree. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you have a good relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a good relationship con ese muerto, you're gonna have problems. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think que a pepa cojón, you can always manipulate him to affect processes. ese enfumbe te puede embarcar. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what it means by embarcarte is once he's up to here with the treaties, I'm referring to an enfumbe that's really well built, not un muerto esclavo que tú tienes en una botella, that you have an enfumbe that you haven't bottled or that you use for other purposes, that he is a slave to the house, that you just use for whatever reason. I'm
Mm-hmm.
referring to Yo and Kishi's enfumbe, the one that you truly given all this power to. If you're using him and treating him as a slave, you're gonna have a bad time, in my opinion. If those treaties aren't built correctly, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna call me.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, look, I sent him out and I got sick and I had this accident and this problem and this more problem. I seen a priest on YouTube was talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
He told him to get the kriumba and put fire on it. They ended up calling him talking about, yo, my brother lost his job. I got sick. I'm in the hospital. That infuma, you didn't divine, and that thing doesn't want to work, and you're forcing it.
Mm-hmm. And you
So
can't control it the way you think you
you can't
can.
control it. So these are the things that I'm referring. You got to know what you're doing. Esto no es
Yeah.
coger grab a spirit and throw it in there. And this is a process. Once
Yeah.
again, everything is a process. So
Yeah.
I would recommend to use infumas that you knew. Who is
Mm-hmm.
better to fight for you than your ancestors? Who is better to fight to you? When I say ancestors, I'm not referring bloodline. I'm referring to people you knew, a best friend,
Mm-hmm.
an uncle, or I don't know, a co-worker that you were really well. Eventually, you become like family.
Mm-hmm. Tight.
In other words, you see me and Andy are like this. You
Mm-hmm.
see, that's one of my godson. My other godson, we're like this. We speak to each other. You think
Mm-hmm.
if I pass away, I'm not gonna watch after them, or when they call me, I'm not gonna remember and I'm not gonna speak to them
Mm-hmm.
based on the relationship we had? These are the things that we're referring to,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is very true because same thing as spouses. But
Mm-hmm.
all of these things has pros and cons. If you get a girlfriend who passed away and you want to make it into the kisses, you got a problem in your hands.
Mm-hmm. Jealousy.
Jealousy with now you having a woman and all that. You see these things,
Yeah.
you truly got to understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Be clear. Clear.
You got to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the lower levels of power, we're talking about enslavement and all that type of stuff, which is true too. You know, that stuff is within our tradition,
Yeah.
but it's not the best way to resolve problems or run a room.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best way. And in spiritual warfare, that's not the best way to have in Fumbas
Mm-hmm.
to cause havoc upon other people and or change things in your favor when you're sending an enslaved spirit out.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a parcel, uno que está bien montado.
Montado. Yeah.
That if they're telling him, look, man, I'm
Te
trying to
embarca.
negotiate him in a car accident, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm gonna let you do that. I'm about to get up out of this. I'm about to get myself up out of this pot. They're gonna end up burying me, but I don't care. My priest is gonna leave because he got me enslaved. He's
Mm-hmm.
beating on me. He's screaming at me and doing all this crazy stuff, disrespecting things and doing party and play in the room. Go ahead, take him out.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that enslavement, no. Um, there's other ways of doing things, and I was always taught that with respect, you interact with the dead. These things are serious. You
Mm-hmm.
must deal with these spirits or the dead with respect, just like you do with the living. Go ahead, try to enslave me. I would love for somebody to try to enslave me. I will die fighting,
Mm-hmm.
like many did in the past for change.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
not.
you're gonna bring back racism and Joe Crim laws and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will fight. I will die fighting against it. Oh, it's gonna go to communism. I will die fighting
Mm-hmm.
on my morality. So imagine now you're in Fumbe, has a certain level of morality. You went and got him or bought him from somewhere, and
Yeah.
you're trying to enslave him
Yeah.
for the hell of it, just the hell of it. Because people not understanding the relationship that's inside the room. You have to understand one thing is to give pep talk or be firm within certain effects where you have to speak to somebody firmly. Like I've been spoken very firmly many times
Mm-hmm.
my whole life between my mom, my elders, my
The
godfather,
job.
godmother, my job, drill sergeant threw me out when I was going through trade doc. You see, that was part of the process. To speak firmly is something, and to enslave somebody is a different thing. So if
Mm-hmm.
they're using the word enslavement to pep talking in Fumbe or to show dominance, Um, in a certain way, that's a different conversation. And remember, every Mfumba is different. If
Mm-hmm.
you create a Bajinga, a laid back Mfumba, you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Let me add this. Let
Oh,
me add this.
Jinga.
That's why well that also means non-initiated, but it's laid
Mm-hmm.
back, a laid back person. Um, let's say for us priests to truly, in my opinion, to construct an Nkisi any type, you at least need to understand who that spirit was. You have to test it. You have to build a relationship with it
Mm-hmm.
before I go and make treaties to build them into an Nkisi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes time. And that's what I was referring in one of my videos that
Yeah.
Palo is not today you built it tomorrow. No, 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 no. You got the Mfumbe. Now you have to work with this Mfumbe, understand who this Mfumbe is, test it. I'm talking about you already having an Nkisi and see his effects and what he likes to do, his life, this, that.
Mm.
You start learning, they start telling you about their lives and all of that.
What they're
Because
good at,
I
what they're not good at, all that.
send them out on processes to see if they're good at this and if they're not good at it. Eventually, you can end up seeing them if they had a beard, if this, what were their favorite things, if they were African American, if they were Hispanic, if all these cultures, what happened to them, how did they die, and you start working that in food, but then eventually you build them into an Nkisi, into a pot, how people call it, an Nganga, and
Mm-hmm.
you know who that Mfumba is already,
Mm-hmm.
and you have treaties with them, or you can give them off, to a godchild or whatever, but you know that that Mfumba has morality to him. Tiene
Mm-hmm.
cara. He
Yeah.
has respect. And the same way, oh, you're gonna disrespect him, he's gonna no te la va a cobrar.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna let him disrespect you porque tú se la va a cobrar. The same way, if Andy disrespected me, I'm gonna put him in his place.
Mm-hmm.
Same way, if I disrespect Andy, he's gonna put me in my place.
Mm-hmm.
And when anybody in my life, any man or any person,
Mm-hmm.
there's boundaries and levels of respect. So with the dead is the same thing, and it's more critical
Mm-hmm.
because some are heartless. Others are not. Others are more, let's say, laid back. They're more they're more wussies.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you see, they're more of a wuss. Others are not. So you see, to find a good Mfumba, it takes some time.
Mm-hmm.
It really takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Same way as finding a good business partner, a
Mm-hmm.
wife, a husband. You see,
Yeah.
a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And these relationships are not perfect either. Sometimes you make actions that take a hatchet to a relationship with them. Fumbas become, let's say, you displease them and you
Mm-hmm.
have to rebuild that. Other times they make
Yeah.
decisions that they displease you. And it's
Right.
not like insiders or any of that. It's things that they have effect on within your house.
It's kind of
With
like
your
it's kind of like you let them down and they let you down. You understand?
Yeah, like you might let him down sometimes and he's gonna put pressure on you. And you have to rebuild that. You have to overcome that obstacle where he forgives.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times he's gonna let you down in the sense of, for example, let's say I have always been a specific way, constant with my Mfumbe about, let's say, a man beating women. Let's say that I've always done that. Oh, I put force on her or on all my Nkishis. Oh my God, you hit a woman, you get your ass philosophy behind you, this, that, in my house, everything, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But next thing you know, I have a godson who does it, and I don't want to go up on him, but that's that Mfumbe's, responsibility. I go to Divine, hey, you want to fuck up this godchild because you was beating on his wife, he's not supposed to do that. And I catch, boom, that Fumba is taken up for that godchild, going against my morality and the agreement. So you done it for everybody, but your godchild, you won't do it for. You know that's something that's non-negotiable here.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-negotiable. And you see in that debate back and forth, he's telling me, no, 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 no. You see, he's telling me, don't do it. No, look, he's trying to bend me.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, let go of it. And I'm always saying, Nico, hold it, bro. You see,
Right.
you're
No.
getting more rougher with him, saying, no, the law is the law. The law of the land is what the treaties are. If
Mm-hmm.
I do it, you fuck me up. If anybody does it here, just because he's your godson now, you're gonna respect it because he brings you rum and bottles and he
Mm-hmm.
bought you? No, eso no funciona así.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's nothing that was right, was wrong is wrong. You have to be firmer with him
Mm-hmm.
because he's thinking about the rum or the agreements he has with that godchild. and you
Mhm.
had to be firm with them. I learned this stuff with my godfather that sometimes you have to be firm with the Mfumbas.
Mhm.
People, if you get it mistaken that with enslavement, enslavement don't work like that. The slave does what the master does, and no matter what happens, no, the Mfumba te tira para atrás the
Mhm.
same way. So if I'm like that, next thing you know, my son does it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh no, look, it's my son, he's young, this and that. Then Fuma saying, I don't care if he's young. He
Mhm.
hits on women. Now he's gonna get the truth. So you
Mhm.
as a priest, you have to let it go, you have to let it happen.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm referring to, that push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. Good morality,
Exactly.
good treaties, good things.
Mhm.
That there's no workaround, there's
No.
no beating around the bush. No, no,
No.
lo que pasó, pasó, and that's it.
Yeah, there's no
You
turning
reap
the
your
eye or the
consequences.
face around. No, no, no.
That's what I'm saying. There's certain things, certain situations. Well, in the living, they don't bleed in the room. If they bleed in the room, it's fine. But there's other stuff that is non-negotiable. That there is no circumstance.
Nope.
And if the person lives because he created or did that huge disrespect, those increases are not good. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That increase is not good.
Mhm.
If one of your godchilds goes crazy, beats on a woman and shoots down kids or does some foul thing, and he's still living, your infumas are nothing. That
Mhm.
in Kishi is nothing. It's worth trash
Mhm.
because his level of morality is not there.
Exactly.
These are the things that we're talking about.
Yep.
So it's good here and it's bad here. There's gray areas, but there's certain things that are black and white.
Mhm.
Certain situations might be in the gray, but there's certain ones that are black and certain ones that are white. You can't mix them up.
You can't.
And
Yep.
these infumbas, I'm gonna say it again. Be very careful interacting with the dead. They carry the same. Certain infumbas have that. They're hard
Mhm.
to come by.
Mhm.
They're hard to come by, but
Very
when you
hard to
get
come by.
you get with those type of infumbas, those are the lottery tickets.
Yep.
Those are the saying, "Que muerto está bueno."
Yep.
Because what you tell it to do and what you when he tells you to do, you both do it, and the both effects happen.
Mhm.
What this does, and they're tested. Those infumbas are tested.
Mhm.
That's why those ensadas and those type of works they cost a lot of money because you know for a fact things are gonna hit.
Exactly.
But to get to those levels and understanding and power, it's a relationship with the Mfumba. No es un, dos, tres, agua para la pared. It's not like that.
Mhm.
Look, I got punished. I'm gonna say this. There was a certain time where I was doing a reading for a certain situation. I'm not gonna go in depth. And then Fumba told me not to, let's say, put my input in it. Don't
Yeah.
don't give no advice from your input or nothing. Just let it be. And don't put your input, right? I start laughing once I start hearing this information. Los muertos se me arribaron, that's a big disrespect just for laughing in a room about a situation that was funny to me. You see, it was funny,
Mhm.
but muerto me la cobró.
Mhm.
That level of seriousness was in the room.
Mhm.
And that's how you know that I got good. That's how I know I got good on Fumbas.
Mhm.
Just for laughing on a it's like you go to the doctor and let's say you have a hermoid or you have a lump on your breast, a woman has a lump on her breast, or he has to see your testicles for whatever reason, because you have hernia. And as soon as the doctor she starts laughing,
Mhm.
isn't that going to be very disrespectful?
Of course. Yeah.
You see that? It's something like that, but it has nothing to do like that with that actual situation. But with
Right.
the reading itself, with what's coming out, you
Mhm.
know. And I laughed because it was funny. And my Fumba after that changed, the whole atmosphere changed. And the good thing was that I didn't have a priest, a godson in the room. I didn't have a godson in the room because if I would have had a godson in the room or a goddaughter in the room or somebody in the room with me, I would have probably in Fumba said, "You're gonna get hit with the machetes. Hey, tell this priest to hit you with the machetes." That's what's being negotiated. If not, van a haber problema. We ain't continuing, we're gonna be problems. Letras de
Mhm.
muerte and all of that stuff.
Yep.
You see, I had to resolve the problem in a different way with money.
Mhm.
The same thing happened one time when I was a kid in my godfather's house. We're running a situation. We're running a ritual of initiation in my godfather's room. It's like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There was a lot of people in my godfather's house. Two members that are not initiated, they were outside and they started. bickering or just a little conversation got a little bit out of control. But those ripples you can hear because everybody was quiet in the room for a certain situation. Those Mfumba chewed out my godfather, big time. Made him pay. He had to pay some stuff for his Nkisi. And those people got kicked out. They
Yep.
never went again. They never
Eh,
showed up again.
yep.
You see, the Mfumbas were laying down the law just
Mm-hmm.
because of a disagreement that got a little bit out of control, not huge, a little bit out of control. That was already a disrespect. And those Mfumbas said, no more. Hell no. This is a religious event and these things are happening. This is no tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, mi padrino chewed them out big time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's different types of Mfumbas. If you truly want to have power and knowledge and good in Kizis, make sure you got a good Mfumba. Make sure the Mfumbas are on point. And the level of respect and morality in these rooms, Sugalo, you
Yeah. Bring
climb
it
out of
up.
those Santa Claus levels of
Mm-hmm.
all that drinking and cooking
All
pig
right.
and playing
Yeah.
dominoes and women dancing in front of the pots butt naked, all that stuff. That's all lower level Palo, which is fine. I respect those people who do that. Those are in cases their lives.
Mm-hmm.
But in those levels, there's a lot of room for tragedy to happen, especially if they got spirits that respects themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just me saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Many priests know that out here.
Mm-hmm.
Many priests out here know that. A
Yeah.
lot
Many
of us
people.
know that.
Yep.
Que tienen tremendo muerto,
Yep.
you know? And
Well,
that's what I got. I know I talk a
we
lot, and I
out of here. We
apologize.
we out of here. You know, I gotta go. It's 10:30. You know, old head bed is calling me. But I'm good. Tata, man. Once again, great having you always, like always. Another day with Tata Matamba online. The video's gonna be up. All right, because I had a couple of questions there. Is it gonna stay up? Is it gonna stay up? Yeah, it's gonna stay up. Um,
Um, Let me say this. Let me at least despedirme. You
mhm.
know, like, share, subscribe to Andy's channel. Um, I'm loving what he's doing. I'm proud of him. If you guys looking for herbs, look up Sacred Roots or
Sacred root, sacred
Sacred
roots.
Roots.com too. They have a bunch of herbs there. Um, those are actual businesses for it. I have other contacts for herbs, but I have used them. They have tremendous herbs. Look it up, Sacred Roots. They're actually out of, I think, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we could put in the comments if anybody asks for it. And any questions, leave it down in the comments. I'll go ahead and always leave you guys with in Singa Dikanda Ninga Katu Bukako. Always uphold our community by making the right decisions for our community. You know, and that's what I got. There's a book coming out, The Art of Spiritual Warfare. That's coming out soon. I have the books on Amazon. If you bought the Scrolls of Time, you can hit me up personally. And if you need to have any questions with it, I'm there for you. 'Cause that
Mm-hmm.
you really need to understand divination, the codes and all that stuff.
Right.
Um, and we're here, we're here
Mm-hmm.
for the community at the end of the day. It comes with the terrain. If
It
you are a
does.
priest, at the end of the day, you understand you're only here for a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for the descendants, for my kids, 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 for the
Yep.
future of Nkisi Malongo.
Let's
You
see me
know,
do it. All right. Have
so
a
many
great night.
blessings.
Many blessings. Be safe. It was a pleasure having you guys here. Thanks for hanging around. 33 still here, and we are grateful. Have a great night. Salam alaikum. Alaikum salam. Tata bendición. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bendiciones. I got you, Baba. Bye
All
bye.
right. Be safe, guys.